A stranger buys it for 1 billion. The seller was completely shocked by the price and asked if anyone wanted to raise the bid. 1 billion for this foreigner. If no one wants to raise the bid, then she's sold. The man in the robe and mask began to walk towards the girl. Now since she belongs to him, he can take her. The seller noted that everything was correct and he could leave. The girl asked him why he paid so much for her and asked what he was going to do with her. The gentleman asked her to sleep because when she opened her eyes, they would already be in a different place. The girl noticed that his gaze was cold as ice. When she woke up, she immediately jumped up in surprise. The girl did not understand at all what was happening and where she was now. A gentleman entered her room and noticed that she was already awake. This scared her even more because she had no idea who they were or what they wanted from her. She jumped up and walked away from them. The man said that the lady should not be so afraid of them. Another man noted that his colleague was right because this place was the estate of the Duke of Schweiden. No one would harm her here. When she heard about this, she thought about it, and then she asked how long she had been here. The man said that it had been 4 days, and they were worried because she had not come to her senses for a long time. The girl asked for a pencil and paper. The man said that everything was right there in front of her, but the lady resolutely told him to give it to her. She asked him to put it under her feet. The man noted that the lady was so capricious. When he walked away a little, she immediately rushed to the pen and paper. If this really was the Duke of Schweiden's mansion, then she needed to get out of here immediately. Until they realized who she was. It's bad because her hands are shaking. There's no other option. She opened the window and wanted to jump out of it. The servants did not have time to stop her. The girl flew away on a big bird. The men were in complete shock when they saw this. I need to draw myself some kind of means of transportation and get out of here before she gets caught. Men thought she was a drawing magician. She heard that same voice. Although the dazzlingly shiny golden hair and aristocratic profile, the swordsman's strong and large hands make him look like the sun god who has descended from the heavens on his chariot. The main character is Lucifer de Schweiden. He remarked that I had come out of nowhere. Well, that's true. She really screwed up. The girl found herself in this book about 10 days ago. I woke up in a box that was being taken to an auction. The man was telling the coachman to be careful because there was a slave of the highest quality in there. And she asked him if he had heard that this time the prince himself, even the descendant of the sun, would come to the auction. So he had to guard these goods properly, but they really felt sorry to sell this one. After all, desert women are usually very hot. The main character thought. She didn't want to say who, that perhaps she ended up in the body of villain number 4. This is unfair. Since this book is quite popular, it seems to her that 1,000 people have read it. She only read halfway through until the moment when the body of her favorite character was found in prison. The main character did not understand at all why this had to happen to her. She lay in the bathtub and decided that it was better to be villain number 4 after all. Villain number 4 is Shay. She loved the main character more than anyone. And I couldn't stand the main character who I was constantly hanging on to. She was the one who stood calmly and watched as the main character fell off the cliff. And the Duke who saw this scene imprisoned Shay, where she eventually died. But she just fell into the trap of villain number 1. Villain number 4, despised by the other 3 villains, is the most unfortunate character. And the reason she was hated was because of her beauty. She was too beautiful. She thought it was a bit old-fashioned. When she read this book, it seemed to her that the author was exaggerating too much. But this is crazy. When she looked in the mirror, she was in complete shock. A beauty, to put it bluntly, stunningly beautiful. If she is that chic, then that description fits her, and she admits it. The girl couldn't believe that it was really her in the reflection. If she is so beautiful and is also a hereditary drawing magician, then why didn't they make her the main character? She is sure that if she took the place of that fool, it would be much more interesting. Someone knocked and announced that his lordship had asked her to join him for dinner downstairs. The butler had left some house clothes for her in the closet. Because of the Korean mentality, she is not used to talking like the aristocrats in books and she is also unsure of Shay's noble origins. It would be a different matter if they were planning something evil, but it seems they haven't suspected anything yet. While she was washing herself, it was quiet outside. The man noted that he saw that she had calmed down a little. A gentleman sat in front of her and told her to sit down next to him. If you think about it here, they ride horses and fight with swords, just like in the Middle Ages. But there are also hot air balloons and trains. It's some kind of mixed world. She decided to ask the Duke if he was currently dating some beauty. The man said it was Wambu. Shay was surprised and asked again what it was. A collection of useless gossip and unconfirmed information. Shay realized that these were just empty rumors. It's good because servants are so naive. The master asked her to try the food. This is a clam chowder, not a soft one, so it will be easy to eat. When the girl tried it, she was simply delighted it was delicious. This is because this is the first time in all this time that she is eating something normal. She almost swallowed the spoon. Lucifer noted that it would be better to introduce himself first. He said his name. Shay also did not lag behind and introduced herself. The man decided to ask how she got captured. Shay tried to remember what was in the original work. The fourth villain, who inherited the rare magical gift of drawing exemplar, was born in the small magical kingdom of Edmund. With her ability to turn anything she draws into reality, Shay was unrivaled. Well, naturally, many people with great power wanted to get such power. They looked for magicians and turned them into their slaves. Even dying with a tongue bitten off was better than living like that. So she said that they found out that she was a drawing mage. Apparently, they were hunting her. Shay said she ran through the desert without a pencil or paper. The gentleman understood her and noted that in that case, she had nowhere to return to. Shay didn't quite understand why he was intimidating her, because she would run away as soon as she felt better. Lucifer told her to stay here for now if she had nowhere else to go. The girl realized that this was a scene from the memories of the real villain number 4. Lucifer hoped that she would testify against criminals accused of slave trading and running illegal auctions. When the investigation was over, he would send her wherever he said Shay was not against it, and noted that in any case, she needed time to recover. And now the gentleman must go away on business. Since the Duke has moved in social circles all his life, it seems as if he cannot stand long conversations. Shay decided that she would probably feel uncomfortable too if someone stared at her face for that long. He left. The girl was glad when she saw the butler and told him that she had one question for him. The gentleman was ready to listen to her. She could ask whatever she wanted. Shay decided to ask what she could do here to make a lot of money. The servant told the master that she was trying to find out how to make a lot of money. He apologized, but he had to tell him that. She didn't even wander around his lordship's room at night. And then Lucifer asked, "What about the hair?" He never noticed her bending over, for any reason. Apparently, she's not interested in magic, but in money. On the contrary, the gentleman asked if he thought she only wanted money. The butler was absolutely sure of it. It would be good if she didn't fall in love with him, and the butler advised that the gentleman try to test her. After these words, Lucifer thought about how to do this. Small figures helped the girl take a bath. Probably the best way to earn a lot of money is to set up production of luxurious outfits for aristocrats or to engage in the entertainment industry. This world and reality are no different when it comes to ways to get rich. Create a luxury clothing brand. This thing will work out either way, so we need to think it through. Is there a good alternative to alcohol that could be used in the entertainment industry? Of course, there are no people who don't like to have fun. Yes, her adaptability is better than 999% of people. Everything had changed so abruptly, she didn't even shed a tear. Of course, now she could say goodbye to the mold and the semi-basement room. And she thinks it's 100 times better than living with student loans after graduation. Besides, she can get rich here. Lucifer approached her and asked if everything was okay, and this surprised the girl very much. She realized that an hour had passed, and now it was clear why he was there. Shay said that everything was fine, and she would be out soon. She needed to rinse off one more time. The door opened, and Lucifer entered her room. The girl was in complete shock and began to apologize to him for having to see this. Shay apologized many more times, but the man stood rooted to the spot. Lucifer informed her that he had not seen anything, so she could continue washing, and apologized for disturbing her. The little figures meanwhile laughed at her, and the girl was very angry and said that she would kill them now. Her bright future has fallen into ruin, and she doesn't understand how she can look Lucifer in the eyes now. She just found a way to earn money for food and a normal life. Lucifer was showing off and thinking that he had noticed it from the start, of course, but she was still so skinny. Plus, all those bruises she got during her captivity. It is clear from her that she is from a noble family. She does not even have a maid next to her. Lucifer also did not show her due respect. The gentleman turned to Maynard and asked him to bring his guest some ointment that he could use to treat his wounds during the campaign. He also asked that she be given a lot of bread with her food so that she could recover faster. The servant was shocked. He did not even eat bread. And then Lucifer added that he should also add meat and increase the amount of cheese and ham. Anything that will help you gain weight. The servant informed the master that this will be done. Lucifer thought again that she needed to eat more bread and meat to gain weight. But all this is very strange. Before, he only met girls who deliberately try to get closer to him. He always felt terribly sick about it, but he doesn't understand why she doesn't make him feel the same way. He thought about, what if there was a girl like Shay next to him? She looked so indifferent, even though he saw her naked. This is either because the sun god's power doesn't work on foreigners, or because there is something special about her. To be honest, he thought that this girl would immediately hang on him, like everything else. To neutralize the scorching heat of the sun, a woman with strong lunar energy is needed. This is the solution that his ancestors who suffered from the same problems found. The best thing is to get married living under the same roof, can neutralize the solar energy, and greatly improve the situation. The problem is that the partner must be rational enough to strictly fulfill the obligations of a fictitious marriage. If the marriage starts with his feelings, eventually the feelings from the female side will become much stronger. Her hair is the color of dawn, as if she was born from flames. Lucifer is truly scared and strange, so he doesn't understand at all what to do. His hope is growing stronger and stronger, and he doesn't know what to do with it. Shay now feels like she's the one who's been battling her class teacher. The girl tried to calm down and relax in this situation. Suddenly, a man approached her. Shay awkwardly greeted Maynard. The servant asked her to go inside and wait there for a while, as he would bring the rest. It seems that Lucifer hasn't arrived yet, and she is very interested in what tasty things will suit her today. When she came to the table, she saw a whole pile of baked goods. There were so many macaroons. She decided to try one, but suddenly someone approached her and asked if she had arrived yet. The girl realized it was Lucifer. She also noticed the steak. The girl believed she was in heaven. Lucifer told her to start eating. This is simply amazing. She never knew vegetables tasted so good. She decided to first watch him eat the steak and then repeat after him. Lucifer thought she didn't like meat, but Shay said she did. The gentleman said that in that case, he would cut it for her. This rather surprised the lady, and she looked at him. But he immediately cut it up and said she could eat it. Shay thanked him, but she didn't understand why she was doing that. Lucifer noted that they would tighten early only if she ate well. Shay was very embarrassed and said that he was right, of course, and she was embarrassed because he saw these wounds when she was washing herself. But he said he didn't see anything Shay saw on the evening news, that he was having an affair, but with another girl. Lucifer noted that he wasn't particularly interested in all of this, but even if he just went to a restaurant and asked for a menu, some journalist would definitely write an article about it. Shay asked if he had ever tried talking to the publisher, but the man said it was simply useless. The girl asked him why he thought so. Lucifer only replied that it was because the princess herself was behind all this. The princess is the number 2 villain who constantly tries to get between the main characters. She is strong enough that they often talk about her as the heir to the throne. But she has a sadistic streak. Her hobby is making handsome men cry. At some point, it became his routine to check in the morning what kind of crap was written about him this time. Even if he doesn't want to do it, he still has to. To read other articles, Shay asked if he knew how young ladies read magazines these days. But Lucifer said he never cared about it. He can't fight off the demons that follow him every time he comes home from work. Bribing servants is a common practice, so there is no one in this house except Maynard and Theobald. Even in his own residence, they spy on him while he is taking a bath. They ignore the danger signs and throw themselves at his feet during training, so he has a proposition for her. Shay asked him what he wanted. Lucifer said firmly that he wanted to marry her. The girl was in complete shock and didn't even know how to react to it. She didn't quite understand why he suddenly made such a decision. Lucifer added that it was only for 3 years. She only had to be his wife for 3 years. Shay asked if her hearing was okay, and asked again if he was really asking her to marry him now. Lucifer said that more precisely, he would like to get engaged first, and only then have a wedding. Anyway, the point is, marriage, she won't have to fear for her life anymore. Shay asked why he was talking, as if she had already agreed. Lucifer said that she should think carefully, because if she becomes his wife, she will be able to take for herself all the bribes and gifts that are offered to her, and he won't say a word against it. After that, the girl asked him why she thought he trusted her so much. Lucifer noted that she doubted it quite a lot. Shay noted that this was natural. She barely knew him and did not understand why he was making her such an offer. Lucifer noted that apparently she is also straightforward. Someone auctioned initially, he was going to destroy all these freaks there. But the moment he saw her, it was as if something had dawned on him, despite the fact that she had been drugged with something. Her look said that she wanted to tear them all apart, and he was quite impressed by it. Lucifer thought that if he chose her, she would be able to surprise everyone, considering that she had already spoken to him on a first-name basis. She would definitely not be embarrassed in front of the princess. Shay wasn't sure whether to take that as an insult or a compliment. She might have to stay here forever, so this was a good chance. He offers her money and a luxurious life. There is at least a year left before the appearance of the main character. There is still plenty of time. Lucifer repeated that he was not interested in marriage and did not want to get married for real, but he needed to create the appearance of love until death. She will be allowed to use his name and do whatever she comes in, and she will also be able to speak to everyone on a first-name basis. Shay was surprised and asked if she would be executed for this, but Lucifer said that he would take care of everything and asked to become his luxurious and unbearable women in this empire, so that upon seeing her, no one would even think of approaching him. He could at least disperse the she-wolf by calling the tigress for help. It's possible, but she wonders how much he'll pay her. He said 10 billion gauda. If 1 gauda is equal to 1,001, it's hard to imagine how much it is. Besides, the prices were lower here. If he paid that much, then they had a deal. Shay decided that she would gladly show them what a real bitch meant. Lucifer was pleased to hear such an answer. The girl asked if he could give her half the amount in advance. The man noticed that she had suddenly spoken. Shay was worried about where she would have to work if she couldn't return to the real world, but it was good money. First, she will sign a contract and get money. When the main character appears, it will just run away. She decided it would be easy. Shay promised Lucifer that she would show him her incredible acting. But for this, she wants to set 2 more conditions. Lucifer asked what the conditions were. First of all, no matter what happens, he must always remain on her side. Secondly, if he truly falls in love with someone, he will send her away and make sure that no one can track her down. Because the villains in this book are just psychopaths, Lucifer agreed and said that all these conditions are a small price to pay for a normal life. Shay said that he shouldn't worry. Sorry, he'll get married and then get divorced, and she'll scare away all the girls who dare to approach him. She looks very excited, and I wonder how much she can buy with 10 billion. Lucifer ordered the servant to bring the contract. He immediately brought it to the girl. Shay decided to take a look and asked if he had prepared it while she was sleeping, and the man confirmed it. Her name is Titania Overton. She likes it. It sounds like a fairy name. It suits her very well. She comes from a poor village family who came to the capital to get a job as a maid, but she was unlucky and was captured. The girl noted that this was a story about Cinderella, but Lucifer didn't quite understand what she was talking about. It needs to be a romantic fairy tale that everyone loves. Titania said she doesn't mind. It looks pretty good, so she'll do it. Suddenly, Lucifer jumped up, and the girl did not quite understand what was happening. He climbed onto the table, and in a few moments, he was right on top of Shay. It's an ambush, but the man told her to be quiet because the enemy is not sleeping. The girl didn't quite understand what it was, and Lucifer was wondering if they were still there. Needles poisoned with sleeping potion. Titania didn't quite understand what they were. I thought they were aimed at her face. Only one in particular would use such dirty methods to eliminate a rival villainess, number one. But she decided it didn't matter who it was. She asked the gentleman to turn away, but Lucifer didn't quite understand what all this meant. Titania told him not to just talk and to take off his jacket. Titania apologized, but Lucifer did not understand at all what this woman was doing. Titania is not one of those people who will not rest until she takes revenge on her offender. She asked if they were still there, and Lucifer confirmed it. Then she turned to him, and Titania told him to undress. Lucifer sighed with displeasure and immediately undressed. They finally caught the culprits. They disappeared. So Lucifer is curious about what she drew. But Titania pointed out that it was a company secret. She didn't even know how she would say that she had drawn fire rockets aimed at their asses. She pointed out that whatever the case, he should not forget that he had to pay her. Lucifer said that he wouldn't forget, so she shouldn't worry, and should call him by his name in public. Titania was embarrassed at first, then suggested that she call him Darling Bunny Baby Sunshine, and told him to choose from the four. Lucifer was in complete shock when he heard this, but he decided not to respond or react to it in any way. Titania decided that no matter how bad the other villains were, she thought she could handle them. Because she won't give up a 10 billion contract, her life is in danger, so she doesn't quite understand why she would run away at all. Even after what happened, such a thought never even occurred to her. Titania must put everything she remembers about this book into order. Villain number 1 is Peridot Chrysiona, the daughter of the prince. Villain number 2 is Princess Tiola's tyrant. Villain number 3 is Countess Maisie Amantine. She remembers that Maisie is the president of the Lucifer fan club, but other than that, nothing else comes to mind, so she shouldn't pay attention to her. The biggest problem is that villain number 1, she has no moral standards or limitations, and she's not sure if that means she can kill anyone she wants. One wrong move, and it could all end badly. And lastly, there is only one way to defeat villain number 2. The Duke sat in his room and thought about what she had suggested he call him. The servant asked if he was thinking about the lady. Now Lucifer noted that nothing was hidden from him. You can't hide it. The man then noted that his master had received these injuries while protecting her, and he thought there was something he liked about her. Lucifer remarked that she was so strange. The servant assumed that he was referring to her character. Sir, it turns out that she has nerves of steel, but that's good. The vision does not know what will happen in the future. The Duke completely agreed with him, and then the servant noted that now the master needed to sleep. Lucifer asked if she really wouldn't give up. Blago confirmed it and said that she wouldn't give up and wouldn't die. The Duke hoped for this. Apparently he was lucky to meet her. From the moment he first saw Shay, she had never shown any weakness. He can't explain what he felt at that moment. A flash, perhaps. An inexplicable feeling that everything could work out with her. Lucifer understood that soon they would have a lot to do, so it was already difficult for him. In the morning, Titania came to his room and told Lucifer to wake up. The man left the room saying that he had already woken up. In that case, he needs to get out quickly because they need to buy a lot of things. Titania had thought about this before, but he's a real hottie. Lucifer said he'd just call the merchants here. The girl tried to set herself up so that she wouldn't think about it because he belonged to someone else. She disagreed and said that she wanted to go. If they went outside, other people would see her, and that would let them know that he was in a relationship. Lucifer said that this cannot be done, and the girl was in complete shock and did not understand why. The man said it was dangerous and asked if she had been attacked a couple of days ago. Titania noted that since we were talking about it, she had prepared something to defend herself. She pulled out a drawing and said she would keep it in her cleavage, and also said he could look at her ankle. Lucifer pointed out that she doesn't need to show everything in such detail. She means that he doesn't need to worry so much, and she wants to buy a good watercolor. He was embarrassed then because he saw her ankle. It's strange. These clothes are so uncomfortable, but she's ready to go. Titania, I know he doesn't like women, but he must play his part. Well, Lucifer promised to try. If he doesn't know how to behave, then he should just play along with her, and she asked him if he had enough savvy for this. Great, that's enough for now. It would be great if the first rumors started to spread. First, you need to draw attention from Lucifer to yourself. That way, he'll probably feel more comfortable. The gentleman announced that they had arrived and added that there was an art shop here. She was very lucky to be here. He told her she didn't have to worry about the cost of materials, so she could buy the best at his expense. Lucifer is her wallet, that is her poor client, and therefore she will do everything at the highest level. She had the look of a former fine arts student. Lucifer asked her to hold his hand. He looks like a completely different person when he acts like this. Luckily, there are plenty of spectators here. Titania should successfully complete her first mission. She thanked him, but immediately fell into his arms. Everyone around was in complete shock. And then the girl thanked the gentleman because she did not fall, thanks to him, and also called him by his short name. He also used the girl's short name, judging by the way he's shaking. He really doesn't like women. Titania noted that all these spectators would now burn their eyes into her back. If things go on like this, she might even die. She will have to endure it since she committed sins and appropriated such a popular handsome man. It was simply adorable. Lucifer noticed that she didn't care much about what others thought. Well, that much. Titania asked him to hold something for her. Judging by how easily she switched from formal to informal speech, Titania definitely grew up in a noble family. Lucifer asked if she needed brushes, and she confirmed that of course she did, and that she should have bought more right away. The gentleman said that she can choose freely, and also she is shorter than he thought. Titania's height is 170 centimeters. There are many different sizes of brushes here, which is very good. Her wrists are so thin but so strong. It would suit her to stand at the easel, holding a brush in her hand. Suddenly she called Lucifer. The girl whispered something in his ear, and he was very surprised. Titania doesn't quite understand what it is, and she also didn't understand at all what to do. From today on, there would be a series of attempts to kill her in all sorts of ways. Anyway, if she were to die, she would first want to piss them off, so she pulled him by the shirt and whispered an apology for it. And she also started kissing him, right in front of everyone. Lucifer was in complete shock and very embarrassed. All the ladies in the area were absolutely furious when they saw this. Titania was pleased with herself. She turned to the gentleman and said that she had done it by accident. The saleswoman was also in complete shock and immediately began to calculate them. If this continues, sales of tomorrow's weekly will skyrocket. In that case, the publishers will have to pay her interest. They started to leave. Now they burn her back with their eyes even more intensely. Titania offered Lucifer to dry himself off, but he didn't react, and she was surprised that he wouldn't. After Lucifer asked what about her, and asked if she would wipe her lips. The girl didn't quite understand why she had to do this. Her mood even rose from the fact that she had stolen a kiss from such a handsome man. Next, they go not to where the #1 villain buys her expensive outfits, but to a store that sells a dress of very good quality, but it is on the verge of bankruptcy due to more popular boutiques. This place was discovered by accident by the main character in the original novel, but she is happy to take advantage of her discovery. The woman was shocked when she saw that she had visitors and immediately greeted them. Lucifer told her that they wanted to look at dresses that would suit his bride. He is a man far from fashion and does not understand it at all, so he asks for help. The price does not matter. The main thing is that it suits her. His beloved said that this atelier sews very well. Titania herself wanted to point out that he was right. The women said that they would dress the future duchess in the latest fashion, and they would do everything to make sure that their expectations were met. Since the Duke and his brides bought clothes here today, it is obvious that word will soon spread about this shop, and no one will care about the design of the dresses. As I expected, no matter what she does, everything suits her, so she will take everything. She sat with the Duke and rested. Lucifer said that if she was tired, then she could take a nap. The servant noted that she needed to be carried to the bedroom. Lucifer said that it was not necessary, because he would wake her up, so Lucifer would do everything himself and the servant could go. The servant immediately understood everything and left the room. Lucifer watched her and did not understand where she came from. While she was sleeping, he read all the available information about her, but found nothing useful. It was just that the human traffickers confirmed that she was captured in the desert, but it was not possible to find out where she had been before that. Lucifer didn't think that a drawing poppy could wander aimlessly like that. It's just amazing. The gentleman ordered the service to prepare the best varieties of his wife's favorite fruits and ordered that a drawing room be allocated for her to move all the purchased materials there. He also asked him to hang on the walls paintings by famous artists that were in the possession of their family. He is in a good mood, and touching her does not cause disgust. Even though it was more of an accidental brush of their lips than a kiss, at that moment he felt like his heart was about to stop. For some reason, he wants to feel it again. The next day, they distributed an emergency edition. Everyone was talking about the Duke of Schweiden's new bride. Newspapers were selling like hotcakes. Everyone was shocked. The Vision knew that he refused to marry for political reasons, and they were also wondering who was the happy one. A mysterious man approached the boy and asked to be given a newspaper too. When the boy looked at him, he was very scared, but the man said that he would not eat him. He just wanted him to sell him a newspaper, as he thought it was her. He was on the trail of the slavers, and when he found her, she suddenly decided to marry that idiot of a duke. There's just a little bit left to wait, and very soon he will get to her. I'll already ask the princess if she should leave everything as it is. The woman screamed that this article is so bad that she simply has no words, and also asked if no one knew the girl who would become a duchess. This is simply unacceptable. What if she's royalty and they don't know anything about her? You can't just watch from the sidelines. The woman noted that she understood what they were talking about, the beloved of this magnificent man. The women decided that they needed to organize a secret party, and of course, they would invite only the members of their fan club. A little over 2 weeks had passed since she had taken up residence at the Duke's estate. During this time, she was attacked 3 times at night, twice pelted with homemade bombs while out for a walk, and once had iron filings mixed into her bath cream. Titania doesn't know if she should be grateful that at least they didn't put anything in the food. By this time, there were probably enough rumors about her to wrap the city's fortress wall around them 5 times. And she doesn't know if they should try to take a walk outside the residence. Lucifer remarked that he had one suitable place in mind. Titania wondered what it was. The man pointed out that it was dangerous there, but the lady pointed out that she was in danger even when she was just lying on the bed, so he had to say what kind of place it was. This is the Imperial Palace. There is also a training ground for knights there. The girl was in complete shock when she heard about the training ground for knights, and she asked again. Lucifer did not understand that he asked her if everything was okay. It's a disaster. It seems that Lucifer wants to introduce her as a knight of the Order of Rentus, but she still agreed. After which he asked if she was sure about it. Titania noted that, yes, and anyway, there was a person there that she would like to meet. This is necessary to save her life. The project to save her life. Mission 1 is to win over Ziotina Adels. Ziotina Adelas is one of the elite of the knightly order endowed with unusual powers. She has always blindly followed the main character. If she manages to befriend Ziontina and the second villain, then everything will be different, especially with Ziontina. She'll be a pain to deal with, so it would be great if she became her ally. After that, when Ziontina met the main character at the ball, she became her devoted supporter. Since this has not happened yet, then she has a chance. Ziontina has a weakness for cute and short girls. She is a beauty, but a little tall. Either way, you never know until you try it, so she's ready to go. Today there will be an official duel. The rating will be updated within the knightly order. Titania asked if civilians could be present. Lucifer noted that it was assumed that he took her along because she was the bad girl he had a crush on, but usually not. Titania understood everything and noted that she had the role of a bitch, but that was good. They arrived at the place. The girl was surprised when she saw the knights' training ground because it was so huge. All the knights began to stir because the captain had arrived. They immediately jumped up and stood before the master. This reminded her once again that Lucifer was a member of high society. The knight decided to ask who it was next to him. The Duke remarked that he would like to introduce her to them first. This is his fiancée, Miss Oberon. The men said that they understood, but they themselves were in complete shock that he had a fiancée. Lucifer asked them what kind of reaction this was, because it seemed very rude. They immediately apologized for being so rude. There is a clear hierarchy here, according to which they are obliged to obey the head that is Lucifer. Titania noted that there was nothing wrong with that, because everyone would react that way. The gentleman, on the contrary, turned to her, but the girl said that everything was fine and apologized for having come here so unexpectedly. She knew that this was my custom, but she was very interested. The knights immediately became embarrassed and said that there was nothing wrong with it, and she could feel at home. This was not a place to show up just out of curiosity, so the woman approached the captain and asked him to send her home. Because it's a violation of the charter, Titania noted that she looks even better in real life. But how the main character melted, this block of ice, is completely unclear. She immediately realized that now was not the time to behave like that, so she apologized and said that she did not mean to cause inconvenience. Titania knew that it was wrong, but the thought of the Duke putting her alone, she tried to think of something sad to cry. The knights immediately placed themselves when they saw her and said that everything was fine and she could stay, but the woman was against it. Anya, of course, must follow the rules, but their captain finally brought a bride, so they don't think it's necessary to be so heartless. Titania asked if everything was absolutely all right, and the knight said that of course, everything was definitely all right, and he would prepare something so that the miss could sit down. The female knight approached Titania and remarked that she was playing her role quite masterfully. The lady did not quite understand what she had told her and wanted to ask again, but Litvinov got ahead of her and asked what was wrong with her. Titania realized that her plan had gone down the drain and that she probably wouldn't be able to get along with her at all. And now, the duel between Madame Ziontina Adales and Sir Ormond Therols. Ziontina always won against other knights, and the scene where she stood covered in mud over her defeated opponent was considered one of the best in the novel. After that, she took off her helmet and approached the main character, who was almost in tears. And she said that she dedicated this victory to her noble ladies. It was simply amazing. Only knights ranked in the top 30 can participate in the duel. She asked what place Ziontina Adalis was. Ziontina was currently in 31st place. Titania was shocked and noted that it turned out that today she would enter the top 30 bow. Lucifer asked how she knew about it. She hadn't seen her in battle. The girl immediately became embarrassed and said that she didn't even know. And then she decided to move away from the topic and shouted that it was so loud. Here Lucifer asked her if she was serious about this. It's all so sudden. It's harder to watch than she thought. It's like someone banging cymbals in your ear for an hour. Lucifer asked her if she could see that boy near the sword stand. The lady noticed what she saw, but did not quite understand why he said it. It's the princess's spy, and he pretends not to notice him, even though he knows who he is. He's standing there on purpose, where he can see them clearly. So he is interested in how to create a correct picture of their relationship. Even a place like the Nightly Order is infiltrated by spies. So next time, she should bring a pair with her because it's too noisy here. Suddenly, Lucifer covered her ears and told her that the fight would soon end. Titania asked if it was true. When he covered her ears, it was much better in his form. They were very big. Titania also asked if she could choose who she would root for. Lucifer said that why not during the duel, all the knights get the support of the ladies. Titania shouted that Ziontina had snow-white skin, and she was also very beautiful, and would definitely win. Titania felt embarrassed because she didn't want to make her blush. Lucifer noticed that no matter what she did, she exceeded all his expectations. Titania asked if this was a compliment and realized that Madame now hated her. Lucifer told her not to see herself and added that Ziontina was very shy. She was shocked when she heard about it because she did not believe that she was so shy. At this rate, she'll definitely score on someone. The man noted that he envied her because such a beauty was rooting for her. Ziontina screamed at him to shut his mouth and began to attack in a rage. She knocked the sword out of his hands and thus won. Lucifer noted that it was a good job, and she rose in the rankings. Titania asked what the technique was that she had just used. Lucifer said that it is not so much a technique as a village that manifests itself when a certain level is reached. The girl believed that this was because the sword's power was growing. Her husband reported that this was indeed the case. It's just amazing. Suddenly she saw a knight standing next to her, and I don't understand how long she's been standing there. She wasn't even noticed. Ziontina reported that as the winner of the duel, she asked the captain to become her opponent. Lucifer reported that he accepted her challenge. Another fight, the same as the last one, one-on-one. In that case, they decided to start. It's just awesome, and it's really spectacular. Retro told the lady that he had brought iced tea and asked her to try it, but the lady told him to keep it down. Introduced, trying to concentrate. On the field of pain, Hallelujah Lucifer earned the nickname the Mad Knight. In reality, when he fights, there is a crazy tension in the air. Besides, he looks like he's having fun right now. His fiancée even thought about it. He is such a skilled warrior that no one can even leave a scratch on him, which makes the princess a very outstanding person. Suddenly she noticed that the spy had disappeared. Ziontina worked hard to resist somehow. There was nothing wrong with such a drink, but it was strange that there was no one near her. Well, if it were her in his place, she would probably try to attack. It looked safe, I suppose. A spear flew into her a little more to the left, and she would have died on the spot. Because of the dust that rose up, no one noticed that she had used magic. Well, when she looked at the field, she didn't understand where they both went, and she thought she was delirious. Ziontina approached her and asked if she had told her to go home, but Titania only asked Madame where Lucifer was. She reported that the captain had gone to catch the attacker. The lady apologized for the trouble she had caused them and could not count the number of times her life had been in danger. And then the knight thought about it and decided to ask what kind of bird was next to her. This is a guard bird that she bought in the alley. If it weren't for her, she would have been pierced with a spear. Ziontina asked if this could really happen. Titania was completely shocked that she believed her. The lady noted that she had not been in the capital for long and did not know the local customs had not done anything bad to anyone, but everyone hated her. The woman said she could inform his lordship. No matter who was behind this, a thorough investigation must be carried out, and those responsible must be severely punished. Titania apologized for being too indecent. Ziontina had simply not been out in public for so long, and she thought it would be okay if she couldn't go to a cafe or an exhibition like others. Titania noted that everything was fine because she did what she had to do. Suddenly she saw her husband and was very glad that he was already here. She threw herself into his arms and said that she was so scared, and yet she was interested in who it was. Lucifer whispered that it was a hired killer. The woman asked him if he had caught this killer somewhere, The gentleman said that near the greenhouse. According to the original story, in the greenhouse of the imperial palace, the #1 villain built her intrigues. Lucifer asked her if she knew anything, but she denied it, except that shortly before the attack, the spy had disappeared. Lucifer asked again, and Titania asked him at the meeting whether he should have been in that very place all the time. The gentleman asked if she was saying that he had disappeared shortly before the attack. That was exactly it. He promised to take note. She was sure Lucifer would find out if the guy was a double agent, but she thinks she managed to win Ziontina over to her side. Of course, she still looks at her, strangely. Titania was reading something and suddenly choked on water. The servant asked what was wrong with her. The mistress asked for water. According to an anonymous knight from the Order of Rentis, this lady is very mysterious. As soon as he saw her, his heart began to beat faster, and he became a prisoner of love. Such a ridiculous article came out, but nevertheless, everyone will simply think that these are just more rumors. One gossip more, one or less, it simply doesn't matter. Another servant reported that a letter had arrived for the missus. Titania did not listen at first, and then asked in surprise if this letter was for her. The servant asked if she wanted to open it and read it right away. The woman confirmed this, and it looked like a normal letter. She realized that it was an invitation to a tea party from Princess Tioles. The servant asked if his mistress would go, and Titania immediately said that naturally she could not miss such a thing, and she believes that she should go and see the main culprit of all Lucifer's troubles with her own eyes. He only noted that his mistress was truly trustworthy. Titania noted that she could become a general. She asked Maynard to send someone to the boutique and have them bring one of the ready-made dresses, and if it was difficult to choose, then they shouldn't bring them all. The girl was very happy because she would finally see this nasty woman. Before the servant came, she needed to draw a maid who would protect her. The girls reported that they had already arrived and asked the lady if she was going to the princess's tea party. The lady told them to sit down, and the women continued to bombard her with questions about whether she was going to wear clothes from their boutique there. First, the mistress wants to explain the rules to them. First, it is forbidden to steal Lucifer's underwear. The women didn't quite understand what that meant. Secondly, his hair cannot be collected and sold. Third, I never said anything about what would happen here. The ladies said that it would all be exactly like this. And finally, they should not fall in love with Lucifer and not hang on him. And then she asked them if they could promise her this. One of the women noted that Lady Titania really loved the Duke. After all, it's something like she's saying that she will protect her man and trust him or protect her lover. They signed the contract, and cats immediately approached them. The woman did not quite understand who they were. The lady said that these cats are the keepers of the contract bought from the magician if they break at least one of the rules. Then these cats will turn into monsters and tear them to pieces. Look, they said they wouldn't break anything. So the lady remarked that of course these cats were very cute. The servant announced that the snacks were ready. Titania told the women that they could help themselves, and if they particularly liked anything, they could order more. While they are working here, if they get hungry, the servant will prepare whatever they want. The lady asked if it was really possible to ask for whatever they wanted. Titania said that it was because she had a lot of money. It was just amazing and chic. By the way, the number of kidnappings has noticeably decreased recently. Of course, it could have been even less, but this is still a good result. The man asked if she needed him anymore and understood that this meant that she had really left him. The gentleman came and immediately asked where Titania was, that she was with the guests. Lucifer was surprised because he didn't quite understand who they were talking about. The lady said that everything was very nice because everything suited the lady, as she thought the gray dress suited her best. It highlights her fiery red hair, and the other dress looks like a fairy costume, and it's better to present yourself as an irresistible villain from the very beginning. The servant informed the gentleman that the lady had invited seamstresses and milliners from the atelier. The gentleman did not quite understand why, so the servant told him that the princess had invited her to a tea party. Lucifer understood everything and asked him to take care of the guests. The servant added that Maynard had noticed someone suspicious today. As the carriage was leaving the mansion, he had seen a tanned man standing nearby. Lucifer thought it was a desert warrior. Scarecrow couldn't tell for sure, but he seemed to have a tattoo on his face. The gentleman did not understand at all what the man from the desert forgot in their empire. He is not exactly sure, but suggests that the gentleman send people to look for him. The madman has an unusual appearance, so they will quickly attack his trail. Perhaps he is somehow connected with Titania. It would be nice to find out everything. Lucifer decided to take a bath and thought about the warrior from the desert. It was the only time in his life when a duel ended in a draw. It was an eerie feeling, as if everything around him had disappeared, and there were only the two of them left. Lucifer is a man with slanted eyes. He looked like he was ready to die in battle because life was burdensome to him. He was capable of killing Lucifer. The man was sure it wasn't him, but later realized he was overreacting. His wife knocked on his door and asked if he was sleeping. He answered me, and that's why she was angry. But she still turned to him, calling him dear, and saying that she missed him to death. Lucifer opened the door in complete shock. Titania remarked that he was too handsome because she didn't understand at all what she was saying. The woman asked if he was going somewhere and wondered why he had come here like that. The gentleman said he was going to a tea party. Titania first asked which tea party he was not going to, but she was invited there. Lucifer said that he was going to a tea party that the princess was hosting. The girl was in complete shock and did not understand why he was going there. He just said that as an escort, if she took him with her, then they would look like a cute couple. If she had already finished getting ready, then they could go. Titania didn't understand if he was serious about going there because it was like the battlefield. Titania decided to ask why he had hardly been seen lately. Lucifer informed her that he was busy. He had done something for her that needed to be sorted out, and it also concerned her. He asked if anyone had helped her when she crossed the desert. Titania understood what he meant and said that she didn't even know. She just had no idea. After all, villain number 4 first appears during the auction. To be honest, she doesn't really remember. Lucifer was surprised by this, and the lady decided to ask why he was asking about this at all. Lucifer said it was just like that, and noted that they would be arriving soon. He offered her his hand. Titania continued to call him pet names. Lucifer pointed out that it was best to use only one pet name at a time. The lady was very glad to see Mr. Lucifer. She did not quite understand what he was doing here. The woman thought he had come to meet them. They wanted to see him so much that they asked him how he wanted it. Titania decided that she was building him. Now she threw some bugs at them. The woman did not understand at all what it was and ordered the maid to take it off her quickly. Titania clung to Lucifer and said that she was so scared. She was shocked that there were centipedes in the princess's palaces, and she didn't quite understand why they didn't clean it at all. It's so dirty here, and she can't stay here any longer, and she doesn't understand at all how the place where the princess's belly is can be so terrible. One of the women said that she was there. As soon as she appeared here, this centipede crawled out. So they think that this means that it was she who was wandering around all sorts of garbage dumps and dragged this disgusting caterpillar here from there. The other woman also agreed with her. She didn't know where this lady came from, but she had disgusting manners. Insulting the palace of Her Highness is the same as insulting her. Titania said she was wandering around, and now she came here, and this morning they were very hot. The women were in complete shock from what she had just said, and the girl began to continue saying that the gentleman did not want to let her go today. And then she asked him if it was true. Lucifer knew he had no choice, so he confirmed it. Then they will go. Titania turned to the butler and asked where the tea party was taking place. The man didn't understand her right away, so he asked again, and the woman repeated that she had asked where the tea party was taking place. The butler immediately apologized for staring at her. Like that, Titania informed him that it was okay, she was used to it, but she wanted him to answer her question. After that, the man pointed in the direction they were supposed to go. The girl thanked him and remarked that it was good that she asked me about it. She's really proud of herself, but Lucifer doesn't look so important. Titania did not quite understand what was going on and assumed that he did not like the servant. She turned to him and thanked him for seeing her off, but the man thought it was his duty. Titania added that it was time for him to go back now, as men were not allowed there. Lucifer told her to shout to him if anything happened. They finally meet. Villainess number 2, Tioles Adela Tyrant. She came closer to the princess and remarked that she was glad to meet her. The lady asked if her guests wanted to play with dolls, and you're not a very good topic of conversation. Titania remembered that her nickname was Doll Collector. She flirts with men. Women are collected at inaugural parties, plays with people like dolls. Titania said she would refuse, and the princess asked what about becoming her doll. After all, she is generous with her toys and allows them a lot. Well, the lady said that she refuses again. The woman didn't quite understand why she refused. Titania said that she was too beautiful to be a doll. The women were very indignant about this, but the princess said that a thing is a thing. And then she asked if she knew that she was the first one to be so rudely rejected, and her proposal, and noted that she was quite impudent. Titania added that she was flattering her. The princess agreed with her and asked her to come over and sit next to her. She was very grateful to her and sat down next to the lady. The princess decided to ask her name. The princess noted that she had never heard a surname like hers before, and it was not on the list of noble families of the imperial court. Titania remarked that it was possible their family was so insignificant that the ruler had no need to single them out. The princess remarked that her mother must have been a delightful woman. She did not remember one like that. The girl noted that this is true and that she has a simply wonderful mother. Naturally, this is so. The princess thinks that this is true and then asks what her real last name is. But Titania stood her ground. The tense atmosphere continued between them, but the princess noted that she loved riddles. Since she was born a genius child, there has never been a mystery she couldn't solve, so her life is quite boring. Titania wondered if she had become a new mystery to her. She had, but she must not allow herself to be solved too quickly, for she wanted to prolong the pleasure. She welcomed the lady into her palace, so Titania was grateful to her, but the princess believed that she should thank her. Titania remarked that she had heard that her fiancé was very popular and added that she was very jealous. Even though they only recently got engaged, they are determined to get married. That's why she wants the princess to tell her who here likes her husband so much, and she is sure that she knows about it. The woman was shocked with you that she called him husband because they still hadn't had a wedding. Titania apologized and said that she didn't even know where her modesty was. Since they call each other husband and wife, she sometimes accidentally says that at official receptions. The young lady seemed to have a strong sense of ownership, and the princess noticed that she was greedy. Yeah, she looks at her like she wants to stuff her. That's why Titania said she shouldn't be stuffed. If a beauty like her can't move, it would be a loss for all of humanity. The princess noted that what she wanted to make a stuffed animal out of was her personality. It was such a shame that she had no physical form. This is wonderful, because her personality will not change, and she had no choice but to please His Highness. The princess promised that she would watch her, so she should be a sweetheart, and she will forgive her if she does something like that. Titania remarked that she had no idea how much she could entertain her, and promised to dispel her boredom. She has to do a project to save her life. Mission 2, to attract the princess's attention and hook her. She took the bait. It's a great catch. Titania was tired, the gentleman noted, so that all appearances, the party went well. The woman said that everything was fine, and then a question was heard about how she liked the princess. The lady remarked that she was very interesting in particular, but this surprised the gentleman a little. Lucifer asked if she was serious. The girl said that she was, and this woman became very interested in her. The Duke was even more surprised. Her goal is to make the princess lose interest in Lucifer. If she is essentially possessed by her, then it will be much calmer to live. Besides, it would be good for her to establish a strong friendship with the princess. Now Lucifer understood what she was talking about. She didn't even know what she would need for this, and asked which newspaper in this country had the most promise. Not a big one, but a small or medium-sized printed publication, some tabloid, which is popular with young people. And it would be great if its editor-in-chief was a little greedy. Lucifer said he didn't even know maybe Tyrant House would do. In that case, they should go there. Lucifer wasn't quite sure what they were going to do there. They say the press is in the hands of the princess. Well, there must be publishing houses that don't want to submit to the powers that be. So she will take away the princess's tyrant avos, Mr. I wondered what she would offer them in return. Titania said that she had the exclusive right to publish articles about their love story. Others can only chase them madly and publish speculations, but they will specifically call journalists from Tiran Avos and go on a date. Lucifer was shocked and asked if the Tyrant House would then publish articles about them and newspaper sales would rise. If this happens, the number of their readers will increase sharply, and they will gain increased influence on public opinion, and then on the contrary will begin to print truthful news. Titania noted that other speculative publications would begin to be released, and that it would take some time for this plan to be implemented. Titania thought he didn't like her idea. After all, he was looking at her so strangely. He noted that judging by everything, she was definitely an aristocrat because she knew a lot about relationships between people and understood how to use it. It would be hard for a commoner to come up with something like that. Titania was shocked, introduced so calmly. It says that she is scared. She doesn't know anything about Titania's origins in the original. There was nothing about it in the book. That's why the lady said that whether she was a peasant or a noblewoman, in any case, they would hunt her. The lady thought it was okay if she continued to insist that she had lost her memory. And then she thought about what would happen if someone appeared who knew her from the past. They arrived, and the servant greeted the master, but Lucifer gestured to him to be quiet. Titania just fell asleep, so they had to be quiet. Theo said he would call Maynard, but Lucifer said that it was not necessary because he himself could carry it. It should not be like that. Her sparkling eyes and the animated shine of her face when she wakes up in the morning, her hair that flows over her shoulders when she turns her head. In just 1 month, this girl turned his head, but if she stays with him, then in the end, everything will fall apart. The woman next to him is doomed to suffer, and he is afraid to give up. And so, he decided to remain a bachelor, but he doesn't want other men to touch her. When he tried to cover her, she quietly asked him not to leave the bedroom. Lucifer thought she wanted him to massage her feet, but then he would wake her up. He wondered if there was a way to massage her legs without her waking up. Suddenly, the lady pulled him towards her, but Lucifer immediately jumped up and did not understand what was happening. A servant came up to him and asked him if the young lady was sleeping soundly. Lucifer was very embarrassed. The servant himself noticed that for some reason, the master looked a little different. The servant said that he would report on the matter that the master had ordered to be investigated several days ago. Firstly, that stranger appeared in the capital not so long ago. They say that he still visits cheap bars and inns and shows an unusual interest in newspapers. Lucifer was surprised and asked if he knew their language, since he read the newspapers. Theo noted that he did, and at the very least he was a descendant of the Ram people. But the gentleman said that perhaps he was one of the Coons. The nomadic peoples inhabiting the desert are divided into dozens of tribes. Among them, there are many powerful clans that live near the oasis. These are the Rams and the Coons. The gentleman asked how his appearance was described. He had black hair, red eyes, and a tattoo on his face. If so, then there is a high probability that he is a Coon. There is even a warrior's mark. It could be him. The old wound immediately tore off with pain. He learned that he had been hanging around the mansion, not only on the day Maynard had found him, so the gentleman asked if there were any witnesses. Bitch reported that the owner of the inn where he stayed twice said that he read the newspapers every day, as if he was trying to find someone in them. Come to think of it, when he asked Titania about the desert, she pretended not to remember anything. The servant also said that he even tried to find out who Duke Schweiden was. Perhaps they were somehow connected. Lucifer remarked that he could only learn something if he saw him, and the servant was surprised that he was going to meet him. It felt like his insides were twisting all at once. Lucifer said that not now, for now, they should just watch. Titania slept well. She didn't quite understand why she fell asleep every time she was going somewhere. She didn't even change her clothes. Today she should call the maid she drew, because she wants to announce this to everyone. But first, she needs to bathe. It's such a beautiful morning today, and the lady is in a very good mood. Lucifer asked his wife if she had caught a cold, but the lady said no, because it was spring now. She also asked him to look at her painting. The Duke remarked that she had painted it beautifully. While I noticed that lady woke up early, Titania said that she was already awake and asked if they had slept well, and also said that she would show them something interesting. She asked them to close the doors in the dining room and come here and to draw the curtains. She asked them to admire what she could do in this body. She spoke special words, and with their help, brought the maid from the painting to life. She asked her to open her eyes. She immediately understood what was happening. But when she saw the lady, she immediately rushed into her arms. She greeted the lady. The girl said that she was born to serve her, so she asked to be given a name. The lady said that her name was Juliet and asked if she would serve her faithfully. The maid was very happy and said that it was the most wonderful thing in the world and was very grateful that the mistress gave it to her. Lucifer noted that it was really amazing because it was just like the real thing. This old man was able to see such an incredible sight before his death. The mistress told her to obey Lucifer as well as her and not to quarrel with the servants. And also, she must never betray her creator and look only at her and also obey only her orders. Lucifer told his wife to be careful. The one introduced was unique, so its value is very high. She agreed with him and said that in that case, she would kill him before she died. Lucifer noted that what she had just done was called creation, the prerogative of the gods. There are those who are born as drawing magicians, but they have no inclination towards this art, so they are not dangerous at all. But she is so talented that she could hold her own exhibitions. If anyone found out about it, she would immediately become a target. The main character didn't know if her character in the original story could draw. Lucifer noted that he certainly knew she could do it. Titania approached Lucifer and asked when they would visit Tyrant House. The gentleman said that he had been thinking about it and that she would soon find out about it, and he had news for her. Those slave traders have been arrested, and she will just have to testify in court in 2 days. Titania can't even remember what happened there. Now it's good that she wrote down the testimony, then that's why she agreed now. And Lucifer also said that after that he wanted to take a little walk with her. There was a nice alley near the courthouse, and it wouldn't hurt for them to unwind. Titania was surprised, and then she became happy and noted that it would really be great. He suggested it himself, so everything is fine, and the lady wants to go there as soon as possible. Also, the girls are very interested in the principle by which this world court works. It is better, of course, never to attend them. Lucifer reported that it was the lady who had come to testify in case number 8920. The man showed them the right way. Lucifer asked her to stay here because he needed to prepare for the trial. The staff would tell her when to come in. The gentleman asked her not to worry because no magic could be used inside the courthouse. Now it is clear why Lucifer told me in the morning that I should not take any magical drawings with me. It is not entirely clear where he is going, and he assumed that it was some kind of a conference room. The gentleman said that they would inform her and noted that she could read the newspaper while she waited. Titania was surprised with you that the percentage of rumors has decreased, and there are more stories about her than stories about relationships. The result is satisfactory. A man approached her and asked the lady witness to take off her mask and enter through this door. Now she realized that this was the door that led to the courtroom. The slave traders were kneeling in the middle of the room. Titania decided that they would still watch, also respected Mr. Judge. But she was in complete shock when she saw Lucifer sitting at the table. She did not expect this at all. Titania wasn't sure that Lucifer was the judge in the novel. That's why she was so surprised. The next witness arrived. The lady told the madam to look carefully at the faces of these people. Titania said that she recognized them. And then the woman asked her again if she was sure about it, and she confirmed it. The testimony of 3 witnesses was received. So the woman asks to sentence prisoners 982 and 989 to death. The girl was shocked that it was so immediate. Lucifer reported that his verdict was as follows. Based on the testimony of witnesses and the 8th article of the special law prohibiting slavery, prisoners number 982 and 989 are sentenced to death. This is just crazy. This man even has a sexy brain. Titania did not understand at all why this black suit suited him so well. You can just go crazy, and her heart will jump out of her chest. He is unrealistically cool. Lucifer came up to her and asked if she was okay. Titania was very scared and said that of course she was. He was grateful to her for waiting for him, even though she probably felt heavy at heart. Afterwards, the gentleman asked me if she wanted to go for a walk to relax. She agreed. And when they were walking in the park, she wondered when he had managed to become a judge. Lucifer was surprised with you that she did not know about it. Titania did not quite understand how she could have learned this. The master did not tell her about it. The master noted that he was to blame. But everyone knows about it, so he mistakenly believed that, and she too. Thus he is the head of the knightly order and the judge. Lucifer corrected her and said that he was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. State law stated that only a member of their kind could become the Supreme Judge. This is all because the Schweidens, as the offspring of the sun god, are fair and do not fall for any tricks. If he had brothers, they could share these duties, but unfortunately, he is an only child. In any case, they should have been prepared for the death penalty earlier. So he apologized, but Titania pointed out that it was not worth it, because she didn't even have any residue left. The lady said that she was very happy. Lucifer decided to ask her why. She was surprised and asked if he was unhappy, because the weather was wonderful. The gentleman remarked that he was probably happy because he hadn't even thought about it. Titania told Lucifer to quickly say that he was happy. Still the man said that he was happy, but this did not suit the girl, and she said that he should say it more vividly. I just asked him if he thought that happiness would only come if he often said that he was happy. If he finds it difficult to speak alone, she suggests trying to do it together. Titania tell him that he will be happy. He will look happy and must believe her, because she will definitely help him become like that. In the end, he never said he was happy, but for some reason, it seemed to her that his mood had improved. The man was in complete shock and ordered that his camera be brought to him quickly. This is the editor-in-chief of the publishing house, Tyrann House, Brumberg. The man asked in horror where his coat was, after which his subordinate immediately gave it to him. They didn't quite understand what had happened to him, since the morning the girl herself didn't even know. And she also became interested in what kind of letter it was. Brumberg told them not to go out and report today, but to follow him, because they have a special edition. No, a super special edition. Lucifer told his wife that she was as beautiful as she was. Titania was very embarrassed. She said that she can eat a lot and not get fat. That's her flaw. They called each other affectionately and ate together with the reporters. The mistress also fed Lucifer. Of course, the Tyrant House immediately accepted her offer, since she promised them the exclusive right to do all official reports and interview them. They saw this as a great chance to become independent from the princess's funding. But they seem very surprised and can't even put the menu down and eat anything. This won't do. Perhaps they should change location. If journalists come to interview them, they will have to answer questions evasively. Titania called Juliet to follow her, and she happily ran after her. The lady just can't wait to see what article they come out with. Everything is going like clockwork. Titania herself wasn't sure that it was possible to be so perfect. And her face is beautiful, and all her plans are successful. She doesn't understand at all how this is possible. Suddenly, she heard strange sounds and thought it was another attack, and she had to run. It seems to be an urgent matter, so she wonders if she should check what's there. But the maid said it was dangerous, so she'll take a look herself. Juliet asked her to wait a little and opened the window herself. Anyone would say, "This guy looks suspicious. It's good. He's just standing there. We should close him down quickly." This man called the lady by name, and she was simply stunned and did not understand at all what it was. Lucifer entered the room and turned to his wife. She asked if she had taken too long to fix her makeup, as she had unwittingly made him wait. The food was all cold again. The man asked if it was okay, or everything. She was introduced as if she had seen a ghost. Titania was shocked with you that she turned so white. She knew that it wouldn't work. She informed the gentleman that they would talk in the carriage and suggested that he move there as soon as possible. "Lord, I said that they would do so. So I got tired and demonstratively called my wife with me." Titania didn't even know when he started touching her so freely, and she's also very curious about who that guy is. Lucifer turned to the lady and said that he thought it was time to tell her what had happened. Titania had no idea what she was supposed to say. When she was in the ladies' room, a man knocked on the window from outside. Lucifer was surprised and asked again, then noted that it was good that Juliet was with her. The lady agreed with him and added that later he called her by name. Lucifer noted that Titania had already said that she did not remember what had happened to her. The girl confirmed this once again, but it seems that she doesn't try to restore her memory because it's as if she doesn't want to, and Lucifer doesn't understand why this is so. Titania noted that she simply believed that there was no need to restore it if she was already doing well. She just wanted to live peacefully for a couple of days, and again, a hired killer because someone attacked the carriage. But Lucifer decided that this would not happen and grabbed the lady in his arms. The Duke ordered him to identify himself and tell why he had done this. If he did not like the answer, he would be forced to arrest him immediately. The man asked why Shay had such a face, because she said that she hated carriages, because she felt like she was in a coffin in them. That's why he broke it, and knows she was forced to ride in it. Besides, he thought she'd like it. It's too quiet here, and she always likes thrills. Titania was just in shock, because she thought that this guy was just stalkers, but it turned out that he was a real madman. He noted that they hadn't seen each other for so long, and he was shocked that she wasn't happy to see him at all. He extended his hand and invited her to return to their paradise. Lucifer angrily asked what he was talking about. The girl noticed that he was quite angry. The girl noted that it seemed he had confused her with someone else because her name was Titania, but he said it was a lie. The girl said that she was Titania Oberon, the only daughter of Viscount Oberon, and she didn't know any Shay. The stranger did not understand at all why she was pretending not to know him, and if so, who was he? The girl shouted that in that case he should take off his hood, because she did not understand at all how she could understand who he was if she could not see his face. The man asked if she had really forgotten everything. If it was a joke, then it wasn't funny to him because he already liked his face so much. That's why he doesn't understand at all why she doesn't remember it either. Nothing will change. Everything is the same. She still doesn't understand who this period is, but he is handsome. Lucifer said that he knows him, and he is the first Lacum of the Kun clan, tattoo on the face, black hair, and red eyes. Lucifer hadn't seen him for a long time, but he hadn't changed at all. It was definitely him, and he left a scar on his body. He was the only one who managed to hit Lucifer with the sword. The girl was shocked because in the original story, it was said that Lucifer was in the war and received a combat wound. But it was done by this guy, and he called villain number 4 by name. It's weird. He showed himself to me even during the war, provoked by the unification of the desert clans, so he does not understand at all why he appeared here so unexpectedly. Titania asked him to wait because she did not quite understand what desert clans were and what Lacum meant, and also asked if he really wanted to say that he was stronger than Lucifer. In the middle between the tyrant empire and other countries, there is a very hot place, hot and an endless sand field. There around the oases, tribes gather, and the most famous of them are the Rams and Coons. In their language, Lakurm means warrior, and he is the strongest of all warriors. The man was very surprised because he did not understand what he was talking about, and also he was too loud. Lucifer asked if he really didn't remember him. The man pointed out that he knew he was a jerk who was always grieving for Shay, and he heard a hilarious joke that she was his fiancée. He turned to the girl and said that if she wanted to stay here a little longer, then she can stay, but asks not to make him wait too long. Titania did not understand at all what he was talking about. They got acquainted and continued to say that he would always be by her side. And he also asked her not to forget about him, a man who cannot live without her. And then he said goodbye to her and quickly ran away. The girl was shocked with you that he would just leave, and she became interested in how close they were with villain number 4, that he was suffering so much. For him, the atmosphere became awkward. Titania believed that they had crossed the desert together or that they had fallen in love there. She wondered if Lucifer and Geisha's relationship was the same in the original book and in the media, which must be cool. And she doesn't understand how they can get back if the carriage is broken. So she decides to ask Lucifer how they can get back home. But the man ignored her because he was simply furious. She continued calling him, but he did not respond. And then he asked again what she had asked. Titania said that she had simply thought that they needed to get home sooner. Lucifer apologized and pointed out that she was indeed right. He decided to call the balloon. Titania didn't know what it was and asked again. He hadn't used it for a long time because there was an incident when he was being chased in an unfamiliar flying machine. It's just huge. As soon as they returned on their personal airship, Lucifer called the Tyrant House reporters to personally inform them of the attack. The reporters asked if the identity of the attacker was known. Lucifer said no. They say he looks like a desert warrior. And is the tyrant in danger again? The Duke said that they should not worry, because no matter what happened, he would stand in defense of the Empire. And the gentleman also asked how yesterday's issue sold. The man said that it was simply incredible. Everything was sold out. For the first time in the entire history of the publishing house, the entire print run sold out like hotcakes. He asked him to pass this on to the staff because they had worked very hard. The man asked what it was, and the lady said it was a gift because he said they had sold out. It is very important for them, and they also asked if the lady knows how to sell more. Naturally, if the business of Tiran House goes uphill, then it will only benefit her. Their newspaper decided to receive sponsorship from her, they from the princess time, to get down to business. Tyranny also wanted to ask him something. Did he know anything about the earth, for example about fertile soils? The man thought that aristocrats knew better. Tyranny asked because she didn't know. If we talk about fertile soils, then first of all, it is worth mentioning the fertile lands in the south of the tyrant, but they already have owners. The management of the territories granted by His Majesty is the task of feudal lords. Titania wondered what was happening to the vast barren lands. He wasn't particularly aware of it, but he believed that it could be found out by looking at the Imperial Palace Land Registry. If he's not mistaken, the southeast of Evershell is just such an area, since it borders the desert, and there's always some kind of unrest going on there. About 10 years ago, people stopped living there, and these lands passed into the possession of the imperial family. Titania was very grateful because she needed exactly this information. The man did not understand at all why she needed these lands. The lady asked if there were any places in the tyrant where one could have fun with the family, something like parks. The man said that he did not know, so the lady walked him there. And she also said that he can wait for news. No matter what happens, they will tell him first. The reporter was very grateful if they would inform only them. Titania noted that she had nothing more to say. The sponsorship fee would be transferred within a week after it was approved by the Imperial Palace Chancellery. The girl thought that everything was great because she had magic and even her own zeppelin, but she also now has a profitable business. Not yet, but it's starting to happen. Now she can take away from Lucifer and the interest directed at him. But what will happen after the appearance of the main character is not clear. Before they connect with you, he will go through many trials. If she just takes such a huge amount and disappears, then her conscience will torment her. So she'll kill two birds with one stone. She'll build an amusement park, distract the Duke, and make some money. It seems that she will be able to learn about the land from the princess, and thinks that her plan will help her earn money for a happy old age. Well, it would be difficult if she had problems like yesterday. Titania wondered what would happen if she tried to summon the little one. He's quite big, so he needs a lot of space. Suddenly she heard some rustling. When she looked to the side, she saw Lucifer there practicing fencing. She almost went crazy when she saw his muscles, but she immediately came to her senses and, having calmed down, called him. The gentleman didn't quite understand what had happened. Her second personality was telling her to wake up and return to this cruel world. Titania has finally finished working on the kitten that will protect her, and she is looking for a suitable place to summon it. Lucifer remembered that she said that it was big. Probably if she invites him to the garden, he will throw up all the flowers. And she also apologized for distracting him from training. And she also wonders if he is afraid to walk around so naked. Lucifer noted that he thought that today was possible, and it seemed that living together with her was bearing fruit. The girl was surprised and asked if he really liked training at home, and he confirmed it. Without those stares, he felt much better. Titania asked if there were any mercenaries here, and she wondered if there were any mages around. He didn't know why, but they said they would show the young ladies how he trained. The girl was shocked that there are live broadcasts in this world, and noted that the author has no conscience at all. First, Lucifer asks Maynard to bring a painting, and asks her to wait a little while he changes his clothes. Titania was not at all against it, and said that of course she would wait for him. The girl was simply losing her mind. Her memories were of Lucifer's body. Titania tried to force herself to think good thoughts, and did not understand what kind of dirty thoughts she was thinking about such a noble man. Afterwards he came and asked his wife if she was waiting for him. The servant heard the interesting news while he was cleaning the pantry. The lady noted that they could become her audience, and then she removed the fabric from the canvas, and everyone saw her painting. And indeed, it is very realistic, and the lady has a truly outstanding talent. Titania was very grateful for the praise, and now she orders him to wake up. Suddenly something strange began to happen, and Lucifer immediately ran to his wife. The more complex the painting, the more energy it takes to bring it to life. The man told her that there were people, and it was so hard, so there was no need to do this because she had turned pale, and it was better to stop right now. But Titania told him that she could handle it, so he didn't need to touch her because everything was fine. She still has a little time left, but she will do it because she really needs him. It's time to go out. Titania attempted to accomplish this difficult task. Lucifer came up to her and told her that it was dangerous, and she shouldn't put herself through it. Finally, it summoned him, a huge kitty, who would protect her from enemies. The woman told the cat to obey her. He immediately fell down. It's a little difficult, but she doesn't want to order him to go back. Everything is fine, but the cat's nickname spoils his mood. But he must accept it, because his name is the basis of the contract, and he cannot change it. So he asked her to try not to call him by name. The man was in complete shock when he realized that the cat was talking. Meanwhile, the cat thought that he was allowed to talk, but he assumed that perhaps this was the mistress's servant, so he would pretend that he had not heard it. And the girl did not understand at all why he had such a violent temper. It was all because he was hungry and asked her to feed him. So the gentleman asked what kind of meat he preferred, fried or raw. The cat replied that it was raw. Beef, lamb, pork, duck, and he can choose any of them. Code said that marbled beef would suit him. After that, Lucifer said that everything would be served now. He would certainly be able to adapt to anything. The lady thought that the Duke was so delighted because he simply couldn't take his eyes off him. Titania turned to her husband and said that she wanted to show off her kitty to Her Highness, but she couldn't show up at the palace without an invitation, so they asked him what she should do. Lucifer told her that tomorrow they would enter the palace together during the morning meeting. If she sat in the waiting room for a while, he would be able to meet her. The girl was surprised with you that the meeting would end so quickly. The plan for tomorrow is as follows. Titania thought something was going to happen, but when she heard the plan, she agreed and said she would sit quietly in the waiting room. Lucifer told her it would take an hour at most, but he thinks it will be over much sooner, and then she will bet that the meeting will last 10 minutes. Well, the gentleman noted that it was more like 15. The lady did not understand at all how they both decided to bet on a time shorter than half an hour, and Lucifer noted that they simply both did not like to lose. And yet she looks tired, so the Duke asks her to rest at least a little. The lady agreed with him that she should sleep a little, but when she stood up, she immediately fell off her feet and fainted, but the Duke managed to catch her. The butler asked if the lady was all right. The Duke said that she was not and that she seemed very ill. Her body is ice cold, so they warmed the bed, but with such symptoms, medicines are useless. That's exactly it. Her body temperature needs to rise. If she wasn't sleeping, then we could give her some hot tea, but now it's not possible. Antipyretic drugs only reduce the temperature. However, he cannot leave things like this, so the master ordered them to cover up and try to find at least some medicine. The butler informed him what would be done and asked the gentleman to be sure to remain close to the lady. Her body is too cold. Is it because she created life, or because of the size of her creation, or perhaps it depends on the level of complexity of the paintings? He should write this down, but suddenly he felt someone approaching him from behind. Titania woke up. He thought she was out of her mind because she looked so strange. Lucifer held her and asked her why she stood up so abruptly. Suddenly the lady kissed him. It is completely unclear what is happening. The warmth leaves through her lips, and after that she faints again. It seems that her temperature has returned to normal, and by the way, his heat has gone away, and some lightness has appeared in her body. Lucifer did not know that such a connection was possible between a drawing magician and a descendant of the sun god, and decided that he needed to find out more about it. Well, the lady had such dark circles under her eyes, and the maid said that it was her fault and she should have watched her sleep better. She had a headache, but the lady said that everything was fine. But Juliet said that Katya's skin had also improved, and she did not understand at all how this could happen. Titania continued to assure the maid that everything was fine, and she also wondered where Lucifer and the cat were. The gentleman was drinking coffee with a bagel. The window was rolling around the yard. Because the servant gave him some catnip, Titania thought it was just wonderful and decided to go and have breakfast too. She greeted Lucifer, and he waited for her to wake up. He asked if she would have a bagel with blueberry jam and mascarpone today. The girl was surprised and did not understand how he found out about this. Oh, Lucifer just said that he was watching her and noticed that she usually eats him for breakfast. She is a little impressed. After that, he gave her a bagel, and the lady was very grateful to him and wanted to say that she felt well. Suddenly, she heard strange sounds. It was necessary to Cat, and he said that he had lost his appetite. Titania started yelling at him at first and didn't understand what he was doing, and also acted like some kind of gourmet. I sensed the hustle and bustle. The lady went to the imperial palace to show the princess the cat. Who did you ask her what she was reading? And the lady told him that it was the book, The Prince and the Pauper, and it was here too. It's a rather strange name, The Prince and the Pauper. Titania noticed that in one kingdom, there lived a prince and a pauper who looked exactly the same. They switched places, and this book tells what happened next. It's really very interesting, but suddenly they heard a scream. The lady decided to ask what that sound was, and then told him not to be afraid because everything was fine, and also asked for a second so that she could go and check. She heard a voice asking what the girl could know about politics, and another voice keeping up the conversation. The man said that she should be ready to just get married if she sits at home. He does not understand at all how His Majesty can allow the princess to walk around like that. The lady believed that he was immortal, or that this was a new way of committing suicide. The man asked if Her Highness was here. He didn't understand at all where this world was heading, because such dissolute girls were allowed into the palace. Titania wanted to laugh, because he couldn't talk like that about the princess, since she had a higher status and a better reputation. After that, she approached the man, and noted that it was very rude of him. The man asked in horror what she had just said, and also did not understand how she dared, and in horror asked if she even knew who he was. This man is the great Count Baus. But the woman noticed that she had never heard of such a thing, and she was not interested in it, so she should not know about it. The count shouted so loudly, so she believed that the Baus family did not know the basic rules of decency. The man shouted that he didn't know who she was, but if she continued to insult him, it would be the end for her, and he believed that she had simply gone crazy. The lady noted that she had indeed never heard of him, and called the cat. The man was surprised when he heard that there was a cat in the palace, but at that very second, the cat jumped on him. The count started screaming that it was a monster, and was simply horrified. The kitty asked if he really called him a monster. He is so nasty. So the cat asked her mistress if she could rip this bastard's face off, but the mistress forbade him. And then she turned to the count and said that he needed to learn to choose his expressions, otherwise he would die because of it someday. After this, the princess approached them and began to ask who was grunting in the central corridor of the palace, and then asked what happened. She saw Lady Titania there. The lady immediately bowed to her and remarked that it was a great honor for her to meet Her Highness. The princess noted that while they had not seen each other, she had developed a new hobby of training all sorts of idiots, but the lady said that under no circumstances, and she simply stood in the corridor. This count made so much noise that she had to teach him a little lesson. The lady noted that the lady had taught him a good lesson, and then asked if this creature was her pet. Titania confirmed this and reported that she came to show it to her because she thought that Her Highness would definitely like it. The princess thought that she was going to give it to her as a gift, but the lady said that only if she liked it so much, she could find and bring another one. Her Highness asked that she first let the count go. If he kicked the bucket in the palace, then he would have to pay a huge compensation. People understood her and noted that they would not want to spend money on such a pathetic person. The princess decided to end today's meeting here. The man was further shocked and said that she had not yet made a decision on the reorganization of the budget of the military unit, but the princess noted that he was going to challenge any of her decisions, and she would think about it until tomorrow. And now he was asking to take this beauty and disappear. The princess turned to the lady and asked her if she would like to walk to her palace. Titania remarked that they had brought him to her with pleasure. She would keep her company. It was such luck, she did not even know how often she had the opportunity to walk with such a beautiful lady. The gentleman said that in that case, they would go. This big guy asked to bring him some meat. Her little animal would be fed, and she also noted that the lady had been very busy lately. Titania didn't understand at all what she could possibly be doing, and the princess said that she had completely won over the tyrant house to her side, and she was truly delighted with it. Because she didn't think the press would be interested in her, and the Lucifers were drawn to this adventure, Titania noted that she was glad she could surprise her, but she asks to leave the praise for later, as she intends to shock Her Highness. The lady noted that she was waiting for this couldn't wait, and by the way, it was already spring. Many flowers had blossomed in the garden. Therefore, the princess noticed that this would be a great decoration for her hair, and after that, she would get a flower for her head. Titania remarked that it was indeed very beautiful, and she believed that the mistress was dressing her up like a doll. Well, she said that it just suited her very well, and henceforth it would be called Titania. The lady noted that it was such an honor because this rose looked just like her. Up until this point, everything was going well, and then the princess noticed that it seemed like this was the wrong path. They went even further from the palace. She doesn't quite understand who forgets the way to their own home. The lady noted that nevertheless, judging by the fact that there are greenhouses nearby, they don't have far to go. It seems the princess accidentally took. Here Titania stopped when she said greenhouses. Well, what if she is talking about the greenhouses installed in the imperial garden? That's the territory of the #1 villain, Peridot Chrysiona. She greeted the lady. She said that it's not worth it. She told the princess that she saw this rose on her way here and decided to call her Titania. The girl was shocked that this was not a joke, and she really did name the rose that way. The princess noticed that it was obviously the name of the young lady next to her. The princess thought that they had not yet met. At tomorrow's meeting, they should report the change and put it on her desk. Peridot promised the lady that everything would be done, and then bowed to her. Titania suggested that Princess Tioles go and also inquire about the lady's connection with roses. Princess Peridot is the head of the Imperial Botanical Department, and she was able to give the order quickly because she ran into her. Here, perhaps this is the fastest way to make enemies. The #1 villain, the youngest daughter of the prince, Peridot Chrysiona. She is not a fan of Lucifer, but considers him the key to her happiness, very self-confident. Titania believed that ordinary people could not enter the greenhouse, and the princess noted that permission must be obtained from the princess, since there are dangerous plants in the greenhouses. The girl was surprised and asked again. The princess confirmed this, and some of them are poisonous, so only a responsible person can issue permission. The novel often used poisonous needles, so you need to be careful. Luckily, Peridot showed them the way to the creator, and I had to wander further through the garden. The princess remarked that there was something she would like to know, and the girl was not at all against it and was waiting for the question. The lady became interested in when her engagement with Lucifer would take place. This question confused the lady. The princess had heard herself called a bride many times, but had never heard of an engagement. The girl noticed that this was indeed true. It seemed they had limited themselves to the vows they had given each other. But if the ceremony did not take place, unpleasant rumors would spread. Titania became embarrassed. Apparently, she had pointed out a problem she had already thought about, and the princess did not speak with Lucifer. She decided to consult with her first. The girl became very interested in what she was talking about. The princess announced that she would lend them the garden for the ceremony, and then asked how she liked the idea. When Titania heard about this, she was in complete shock. The poor thing expected this from the princess. An engagement that will take place under the protection of the royal family. No one will be able to flirt with Lucifer anymore. Besides, she doesn't know exactly when the main character will appear, so it's better to stop here. Titania was very grateful to Her Highness, but it would be strange to make such a decision alone, so she asks permission to talk to Lucifer. The princess was surprised that she was talking about it seriously, and noted that she was so attentive. If you look at it that way, the atmosphere became much calmer than before. The princess was about to leave, but the girl called her. The woman turned and looked attentively at her guest. Titania asked the lady if she would like to give her a present on the occasion of their engagement. The princess said that she was going to present it when the time for the ceremony came, but for the first time in her life, she met a person who demanded a gift. Titania smiled and remarked that it was an honor for her, and the princess began to wonder what it was that she so desired to receive. The girl said that she needed a map for this. After that, the princess began to believe that she wanted her to give her lands. Titania confirmed this, and the princess noted that she was also the first lady who asked for land as a gift. Well, she'll look at the map. She doesn't have much good land, but maybe she'll catch her eye. Titania decided to take a closer look. She needed barren land without a master. The princess also asked why the land she wanted was Evershell. The princess wondered what she was going to do with it. She has one interesting plan. She wants to build a park where all citizens could have a great time. The princess noted that she was so ambitious, but she couldn't just give them away, and she didn't understand at all what to do. Since she is going to launch such a large-scale project, it needs to be reported to His Majesty. Although if she goes hunting with the princess, then so be it. She will give her these lands. The girl was surprised when she heard about the hunt. The lady confirmed it. The lady began to say that she could not ride a horse. This surprised her, but if she can't ride horses, she can try to ride her cat. Titania didn't think he would let her do it, but maybe, so she agreed. But in that case, she had one more request for the princess. The lady decided to try to get the most out of this visit, since she became a new puzzle for the princess lady. She asks to stop mocking Lucifer. Villainess number 2, Princess Tioles, was tormenting the Duke because she wanted to bring him to his knees. For his comfortable life, this problem must be solved. The princess decided to ask what she said that made her so upset, and that it was really sad. Titania was simply sure that she was much more interesting than Lucifer, and then asked if the princess thought the same. Tioles noted that she was brazen and impudent, but she still didn't mind it. She is grateful for the generosity, and also noted that the princess will definitely get what she wants, and now she says goodbye to her. The princess became curious because she could not find out that this was not the imperial family associated with Evershell. It was indeed a casual conversation. There was no hidden meaning in her pointing to these lands. Evershell is a land where a drought suddenly began. The imperial family sent a research team there, and they managed to find something interesting. In the depths of the ancient Temple of the Sun, God, a previously unknown vibrating energy appeared. A half-destroyed tombstone was also found there. It said that a person should master the power and defeat evil and wait for the right person. However, no one could figure out what it meant, and about 80 years ago, the temple was sealed. Now the imperial family only knows the location of this temple, since the ancient compass was lost. The stupid ones can't find it. The princess was sure that she could not find out about this, but it would be necessary to observe what this willful lady would do. Sometimes it is interesting to throw the dice, and so she will have to go hunting with the princess. Lucifer was shocked when he heard that they were going hunting. Sounds harmless enough, but this is not a normal hunt. It's like a little secret club where all sorts of unpleasant things happen. Titania was shocked because she didn't know about it. Lucifer added that since she was going hunting, she should practice dancing. The lady didn't quite understand why when she danced a K-pop dance automatically played in her head. So she decided to ask why this was happening at all. After the hunt, the princess always held a reception. A huge fire is lit in the middle of the main courtyard. There is dancing and loud laughing. They have to go there together. Titania understood him, and she actually doesn't know how to dance properly. Lucifer thought so too, but he's glad she told him about it in advance. Now he can help her too. It's a bit sudden, but the mansion has been pretty quiet these days, so she suggests he go outside and practice. The courtyard of the Duke's estate. Lucifer turned to the lady and asked me if she would do him the honor of taking her hand. It was so unexpected, and she immediately agreed, after which the gentleman thanked her, despite the fact that she herself suggested practicing. In anticipation of this, she began to shiver, and her body became hot. The master asked her where she was looking, because her gaze should be fixed on her partner. Avoiding eye contact while dancing is extremely disrespectful, and she should not think about anything else. Focus on him. During the dance, they almost kissed. The gentleman thanked her, thanked for all the moments that would not have happened without her. He expresses gratitude for the way she changed his life. Meeting her is his only blessing. There is still a lot of time left, so this is just the beginning. But the lady always keeps her promises. Lucifer looked at her with misunderstanding at first, and then agreed, because everything will be even better. The gentleman almost kissed her. After that he thought about it. He managed to linger, but for some reason his heart hurt so much. We need to stop thinking about this, because he doesn't even talk about Geisha's kitchen anymore. Every 2 days, he comes back and wanders around the area. Apparently, it is his merit that the area around the mansion has been clean lately. Lucifer would have been grateful to him if it had not concerned his wife. The servant noted that the master seemed to have many worries. They hadn't had a drink with him for a long time. And while he was grateful, he hadn't noticed that he looked so happy since the lady had appeared. Lucifer was surprised with you and asked again. Theo noticed that he felt more comfortable and had been sleeping in this room for a long time. Previously, during the most difficult times, he changed his bedroom every 2 hours, so I think he was lucky. Lucifer noted that she was like a salvation for him, even if the relationship with her that Kuhn said was true. He would never be able to give her up anyway. Someone broke into their home, but he was killed immediately, and the master ordered him to be removed. Whatever the relationship between the two of them was, it didn't matter if she couldn't remember it, so he wouldn't take her away from him. Lucifer told her to be careful and not to get hurt. The lady was grateful for his concern. Although she came out with a proud look, it's not that simple. Hunting Day X, she's still going to hunt, and she's not sure if everything will be okay. She greeted the gentleman, and Lucifer remarked that the hunting outfit suited her very well. Titania noticed that everything suited the scoundrel. The master asked her to take something, but the lady did not quite understand what it was. Lucifer informed her that this was a special whistle used during special operations, so only experienced warriors would hear its sound. Of course he will be there too, but it is better to be on the safe side. The girl asked if this is part of the nightly birth and was also shocked with you that she can just take her with her. She will hide it first and is also grateful for the care Lucifer asked her to be careful because someone will certainly try to harm her. Titania pointed out that she knew about it, so he shouldn't worry because she would keep her eyes open. The princess met. The lady Titania was very glad to see her mistress. She seemed charmed. She noticed that she looked great today. The princess also did not stand aside and noticed that she was also shining and had not seen this little animal for a long time. The cat noticed that he smelled something sinister. His mistress tried to calm him down so that he wouldn't spoil the atmosphere. Apparently, he has an excellent sense of smell. The princess is not surprised by the talking cat, and whether it really brought her, she hopes with all her heart. Titania was very grateful for the indulgent attitude towards his rude words. Well, the princess thought that all cats were like that. They were not at all like dogs. The cat remarked that it seemed his nose would soon rot. The other servants were in complete shock because the cat was talking. Well, it smells really strange here. The princess noticed that they had finally arrived. She asked her guest to greet them. These are the pigs they will hunt today. The girl was in complete shock when she realized that they would be hunting people. No matter how hard she looks, she sees ordinary people, but the princess would not hunt innocent people. Titania believed that they were all criminals. The princess confirmed this and added that they were all guilty of the same crime. They committed violence. On the way to the hunting grounds, she met a group of women. They had nothing to do with hunting, and that surprised her, so they were just victims. The preparations were complete, so the princess began to prepare her guest. Titania was in full stride when she saw Lady Ziontina. The princess was surprised with you that she already knew her. The lady confirmed this. We have already met once. After these words, the princess noted that it was simply wonderful. In that case, the Lady Knight will go with her. Adele's was in complete horror and tried to argue with Her Highness. Tiola's asked menacingly if she had ever allowed herself to be contradicted. The knight immediately apologized and said that this would not happen again. It was just awful. She made Ziontina tuck her tail between her legs and whine apparently. In the hands of the princess, even a simple lace will become a golden chain. The rapists are at the starting position and are given a choice. From now on, they will be hunted in this forest. If they manage to get out of it, they will not die and may even gain freedom. And also, they will be able to atone for their guilt. Only now, if they beg the victims for forgiveness and agree to bear the deserved punishment, they will avoid an unfortunate fate. Since they had committed such a crime, they must answer for it. Titania wanted them to apologized and repented when a man heard about asking for forgiveness, and he immediately shouted that she was bad because she thought that they would throw themselves at their feet. She'll regret letting them go, and then they started running. Titania didn't know how to react to this. It was just disgusting. The princess asked if she saw this and noted that you bastards can't think with my head. And besides, if they aren't killed, everything will happen again. That's why we need people like Tioles. Since they used force to hurt others, they will pay them back in kind. The hunt began, and the night girl thought strangely and looked towards Lady Titania, who thought that Her Highness was simply magnificent. If she knew that she was so cool, she would have read the novel to the end. The night girl asked her if she had said that her life was in danger. Princess Tioles would be very generous if she refused to come, because her life is already under threat, then she would understand everything. But instead, she climbed into the very heat. That's why Ziontina doesn't understand anything at all. Titania was in complete shock and could not believe that she could worry about her. Ziontina immediately blushed and began to ask if she was talking about her. And then she began to say that it was not so, because she was worried about the captain, and he would be worried about her. Now the lady understands what she means. It seems that it is not so, but she continued to try to correct the situation. Recently, the number of threats in her life has decreased significantly, and she is no longer so weak as to be a burden. There is a cat and amulets that she bought, and the knight saw it. Ziontina noted that this is of course wonderful. Well, she mustn't forget to look around. In an instant, the knight cut down branches for her so that the lady wouldn't get caught. Titania was in complete shock because she did it for her. The knight was very embarrassed. The lady said that she understood everything. Suddenly, she heard strange sounds and asked what it was. Ziontina noted that it seemed like one had been caught. And the knight also noted that the lady had better not look at this. But the lady was very interested, so she quickly went in that direction and immediately saw them. There she saw the princess, who had shot one of the men in the leg. Near Her Highness were probably the victims of these scoundrels. The man asked her to spare him, and the princess noted that perhaps he himself had heard the word. These women also asked for mercy, and the princess also asked if he remembered their desperate pleas. But he only laughed and said that this was mercy. Therefore, with a clever move, she killed him. He screamed that she was a bastard and the spawn of the devil, and that her vile arm would go to hell. This is a trial that cannot be carried out legally. Titania understands this. The victim stood and cried, but the princess approached one of the girls and hugged her. They were all very grateful to the princess and began to cry even more because of this. Titania remarked that Her Highness was truly magnanimous. The knight remarked that this was natural, because the princess will become a beautiful empress and a brave warrior. Princess Tioles is simply gorgeous. No words are enough to describe her magnificence. It must be a great honor to serve such a man. The knight noted that it was. Of course, accompanying Her Highness is a great pride, and for the entire family at once. Titania remarked that since she had a suitable partner, everything was going well, which she was very happy about. The knight tried to stop her. The princess suggested that they split up in a different way, then offered her guest a drink. She did not refuse. She wonders if there is anything she would like to do. The girl asked if she was asking about her dreams or goals. The princess said she meant one of these. She wants to live happily ever after. Until now, the lady had dreamed about this and worked hard on it little by little. And that means she'll definitely succeed. The princess remarked that she wondered if she was sure of that. If she wants to live long and happily, then she should secure the favor of the person in power. And then she asked her if she was right. Titania immediately understood what she was talking about. It seems to her that it will look rather strange, so she decided to give it up. She would die of overwork. She would like to spend the rest of her life somewhere in the provinces. The city doesn't suit her at all, although you wouldn't know it from looking at her, but she loves sheep farming. The princess noted that this was of course unusual, but she could breed sheep in the imperial palace and in general do whatever she wanted here. Titania stood her ground and said that her heart was more fond of a spacious field than a pompous palace. The princess did not expect this. And then she noted that this was all because she had not yet seen the pastures adjacent to the castle. They have a large and wide one, of course, and there is a pen for sheep too. The girl did not understand at all how she could get out of this, and did not understand why the lady was behaving this way. In order to calmly meet old age, she would definitely have to get away from here as far as possible. Damn tomorrow, the night girl shouted that they have hired killers. Very opportune. They shouted that they had come to kill the princess. There were 3 of them. The girl was surprised because they weren't in the book, so she doesn't understand at all where these guys came from. The princess noted that she didn't even find it funny and thought that they were jesters or robbers. Only 5 people. As stupid as it sounds, it couldn't be just 5 people coming to kill the princess, so she ordered the cat to find the rest. The princess was shocked with you that he can get rid of all sorts of vermin. Now she wants it even more. Titania added that he had special training. One of the men shouted that her life would end today and rushed towards the princess. The princess turned to the lady and asked her to simply stand behind her and not move. The mistress had a whip in her hands. Titania was shocked because she was such a cool woman and also a dominatrix. She didn't understand at all how one could be so incredible. Her Highness is simply gorgeous. Meanwhile, an unknown man took aim at Titania. It all happened in just one moment. Kitty dealt with this criminal himself. But by chance, the arrow flew out of the crossbow, but Lucifer caught it with his hand. And even though she almost died, Lucifer saved her, and his beauty took her breath away. The man was very glad that he was not late. Titania noted that she did not even whistle, so she did not understand at all how he knew that she would need it. Lucifer noted that he had promised to be nearby, but at the last moment he heard suspicious sounds. To be honest, she wasn't careful enough and thought that they only wanted the princess, so she's grateful to Lucifer for saving her. The cat immediately ran up to his mistress and asked if she was okay. The girl said that he was a smart boy. Lucifer, meanwhile, was giving the arrow to the knight. When Ziontina looked at the arrow, she immediately approached the princess because she noticed a strange engraving on it. The count seemed to have sunk below the plinth. The girl asked if he was talking about Count Charles Bone. That was exactly it. Now the girl understood and noted that this explained why they wanted to kill her too. The princess asked to tell Peridot that they will soon have new flower food. She will really like it. Ziontina understood everything, but Titania didn't understand what kind of food, but all sorts of horrors immediately came to mind. The hunt was over, and after that, a fun holiday awaited them. Well-roasted wild boar meat and cool beer. People dancing while crying and laughing, releasing all their pent-up emotions. But there's one problem. Lucifer asked her to be patient for a little while because they were almost home. Titania is dirty, but Lucifer asked her not to worry because he would order her to be cleaned. The girl did not understand at all why she was becoming less and less resilient in recent days. That's right. Little sister is a princess. Now if she really doesn't care, it seems that way. These aren't just words. These are words she said while in a strange state. Titania said that it was comfortable to live now, but Lucifer didn't quite understand what she was talking about. Lucifer never thought, the girl added, that she never thought that she would so easily help her find the meaning of life. A woman is a firework, noisy, explosive, and bright, but at some point she will also disappear without a trace, dissolving into thin air. Lucifer would be a little calmer if he had the power that was taken away from the descendants of the sun god 300 years ago. The so-called sight, granting the ability to see the future, but it would not have much meaning. So Lucifer decided that he would make it so that it would make absolutely no difference. After the hunt was over, Count Baus, who had sent the hired killer, was sentenced to exile on an uninhabited island. Of course, it was none of her business, so she ignored this information. Now it's time to enjoy shopping. The woman said that there was nothing that would not suit the lady, so she can't say what to choose and what to leave. She was very happy. The lady noticed that the pearl was rather dimly shining. The woman immediately understood her and noted that this was to be expected. Her demands were high. Unfortunately, all the high-quality pearls were bought by Princess Peridot Crisiona, Villainess, number 1. However, she cannot wear jewelry worse than hers. The quality of the stones on the other rings is better than Lady Peridot's. This was confirmed by the saleswoman. In that case, she decided to take them, the whole row from here to here. She buys everything so they should send it to her house. Usually aristocrats invite a jeweler to their home. and buy jewelry without leaving their chambers, but she does not understand what pleasure there is in shopping. To enjoy food, people go to elite restaurants. Walking can also be considered as one of the entertainments. It is so much fun. They were welcomed into Gianni and Jin. The lady remarked that they were told that the best fan makers worked there. They confirmed it. Because they're really proud of their fans. They're all beautiful, so these guys are rightfully proud of their work. The gentleman informed her that she was taking everything and that they should send it to her house. While the maid was then negotiating how they would pack it, the mistress noticed something in the window. She asked if the building opposite was for sale. The woman confirmed this and noted that they had decided to sell this house about 2 days ago. The owner went bankrupt, so it will be put up for auction. The lady asked if she knew when it would take place. The woman noted that public auctions of land and real estate are usually held at the beginning of the month. In that case, it will probably happen tomorrow. The butler spoke about it earlier. Creating a luxury clothing brand for aristocrats may be the best way to make a lot of money. Well, she decided to try it and open her own boutique. Among all young ladies from noble families, there is one rule. I wear the same dress twice. Therefore, selling fashionable clothes is a very profitable business. The lady asked the maid, "Like this soon, this place will become her store." The maid remarked that she thought it was very, very cool. The mistress was also delighted. This building stands directly opposite the main street and is visible as soon as the carriage turns the corner, and it is quite a good location. It seems more special, and there are enough people passing through, so there is nothing to worry about. She decided to name the brand after herself. If she persuades Madame to become its co-owner, then the income will be divided 80-20. 20, of course, will be taken by Titania. In the original story, she did not have the opportunity to get a good start, and it took a long time to become famous. But now, she will be able to instantly become famous since she appeared here, and they will definitely fulfill their dreams and get rich. The maid called her mistress and noted that there was a small tea house next to the building. Titania was surprised. They decided to go in there anyway. From the outside, the house looked very dilapidated, but inside it was brightly lit by the sun's rays. And also, the girl noted that it is quite cozy here. The tea house is not for sale. When she heard this voice, she realized that it was the princess. When she turned around, she saw that it was really her. Peridot greeted her. Villain number 1. It really is her. She is completely unclear what she is doing here. The woman continued to say that she wouldn't sell it. Peridot insisted that in such a rundown place, the debts were snowballing, so she didn't understand why she was hanging on to it. No matter how stubborn she would soon be unable to refuse her offer. The woman continued to yell at her and told her to just drink her tea and leave. No matter what she said, this woman would not sell this tea shop. The woman had no idea what was going on. Peridot noted that she should give in since she came herself and showed mercy, and she too cannot wait long. Titania thought that she shouldn't behave like that, and the maid really wanted to make an order, but the mistress wanted her to wait a little. They've really tormented this granny. These are the lands that Peridot wants to get. The lady turned to her grandmother and asked what was going on. This woman would not back down. Titania noticed that she seemed to be being threatened, and she wants more than anyone to see how this princess falls into a puddle. There is a saying, "My friend's enemy is my friend." The woman asked if she was a noblewoman, so she doesn't quite understand why she speaks to her formally. For the first time, she sees a person who is able to fight back against the lady, and she is an adventure. Grandma was shocked and asked if it was true. After you added that when she was young, you could even shout at aristocrats. Because she was a nanny, the tyrant people from noble families could not adhere to strict rules of communication with their close servants. And here, the culture of respect for nannies is especially strong. That's why this granny treats aristocrats like that. Suddenly, the girl had a new idea. She asked if there was a reason why she refused to sell the tea shop, even in such difficult times. There is obviously some drama going on here. The woman asked if she was sure about what they were asking, because she herself didn't understand what the other reason was. The woman nevertheless agreed and said that at her age they don't invite people on dates anymore, and here she will at least be able to look at pretty young boys. Titania giggled and started laughing because she had a very good argument. They kept saying sell and sell. Granny had a point. Everything is much more interesting than she thought, and now she likes it even more. Well, if we leave it as is, then Granny and her tea house will become Peridot's prey. We need to take everything into our own hands. Titania said that in that case, she should sell the tea shop to her, and she would pay off the debts for it. Grandmother thought that she was crazy and asked if she had conspired with this woman about us. This is a completely expected reaction from a grandmother, but Titania had a great idea. Titania came home and asked the butler if he wanted to go on a date. Theo told the lady to put this rose in the bedroom. It will serve as a wonderful decoration of the interior. This is a variety without thorns. The lady was very grateful to him, but she was seriously asking him if he wanted to go on a date. The man laughed and asked her what dates were since he was too old. All he can do is trim the bushes. It's so hard. She wanted to win over Grandma. I'll arrange a blind date for her. But if he doesn't agree, her plan will fail. Titania thought she had it all figured out. After all, Theo is a real gentleman. The lady decided that she would try comma again. And if it didn't work, she would come up with something else. Titania told the butler that there was a grandmother she wanted to introduce to him. She worked as a nanny for aristocrats. Her name is Tabby. She runs a tea shop. The man was in complete shock and asked the lady if she had just said Tabby. Titania was surprised and confirmed it. And then she began to believe that they already knew each other. The butler said that they had known each other for quite a long time. So maybe he really should go. After all, he accepted her offer. In that case, I won't go together tomorrow. One villain wants to take away this woman's tea shop, so we need to act quickly. The butler was not at all against it. Her intentions were not entirely pure, but since everything worked out so well, one could breathe a sigh of relief. The maid provided the mistress and her new cap. Titania was very grateful, and Lucifer remarked that it suited her very well. The lady was very glad to see him. And then she started running to him and immediately jumped into his arms. She was very happy and said that she missed him. The lady noticed that Lucifer became embarrassed and began to think that she had done too much. They hadn't seen each other for a long time, so she blurted it out stupidly. The lady said that they should go to the butler. Lucifer was surprised and asked again, and Titania told him that she wanted to introduce him to a wonderful grandmother. 40 years ago, Theo worked as a gardener for a noble family, and Tabby was their nanny. But the family went bankrupt, and all the servants ran away. After that, their connection was broken. It's surprising that they will meet again, like this. The woman asked Theo if he thought it was all incredibly exciting. It certainly was. Titania noted that it happens, and she also wonders what Lucifer would do if he met the person he once loved after 40 years. The gentleman noted that he didn't even know. The girl was shocked because he answered so dryly and called him so boring. So Lucifer said that perhaps the long-forgotten feelings would not flare up again, but he would be very glad. People are not eternal. She may not even notice how over the years, everyone who reminded her of the old days will disappear. And Lucifer noted that it was normal to be happy when you meet someone close. Such a pure, low, and soft voice. No matter how much she listens, it is still not enough. After this, the lady noted that he was right, and added that it didn't matter what feelings connected them. It was probably just nice to see each other again. The butler entered the tea room, and when the woman saw him, she was in complete shock. The gentleman asked her if it was her. Tabby asked with a smile if he was dead, and was shocked that he was still alive. Theo remarked that it was too early for him to die, and they continued to communicate very nicely with each other. Perhaps in the distant future, they and Lucifer will be like this too. Her ringing laughter is still as lively and sonorous, and she herself stands right next to him. Lucifer doesn't understand at all why he wants to touch her so much. Titania turned to her husband and noted that everything seemed to be going well between the two of them, so they could quietly leave. There is one place she would like to sit with him. The gentleman did not understand at all why his heart was beating so hard. So the lady is going to open her shop near the tea shop. A suitable building was put up for auction. It is today. Lucifer noted that he can help her with the purchase if necessary. But Titania said that it was not necessary because she would buy it with her own money since they were only pretending to be a couple. This house, although old, is very conveniently located. The lot was presented at the auction by Mrs. Titania decided to start with 300 million. 300 million, 3,000. Lucifer would have been relieved to see her draw a clear line between them. A man started offering a higher amount than the lady, so she raised the bid again. But the man did not lag behind and continued to raise the stake. The stake rose to 900 million, 9,000 gaudas. It was very interesting who would offer more. Lucifer asked if she was sure that it was worth spending so much money on it because it was just an old building. The lady said that everything was fine. These investments were accumulating more than twice, and he himself would soon be sure of this because she will make this old house a gem. When he looks at that shining smile, he wants to see her all the time, and that's why he said he can't wait. Lucifer noted that he thought she should rest, as they would have plenty of time to conduct the inspection. But the girl wanted to look at the building as a souvenir before they started rebuilding it. She didn't know that she would be so tired. Lately, she has been lacking stamina. Lucifer pointed out that in that case, she should lie down for a while. Titania said that there was no pillow, and she could not lie down without a pillow. Lucifer was silent for a while, and then said that she would lend her lap, and she could lie down as she liked. The lady asked if he really didn't mind, and he confirmed it. After that, she decided to lie down comfortably. She didn't understand at all what was going on. Maybe he suggested it because he was angry with her nagging, so she decided to shut up and lie down, or something like that. Titania looked at Lucifer and immediately became embarrassed, but he realized that she should not forget herself. Because this man belongs to another, he must be acting this way because he treats her like a little sister. He is a caring person by nature, and she just misunderstood everything, so she decided to close her eyes and not think about it. The woman is so angry that she simply cannot stand it. She appeared out of nowhere and did not understand at all how she dared to spoil the plans of the mistress. She tried to buy the house, but this bitch suddenly raised the bid by 200 million. And the prepared means were not enough, so she asks the lady for forgiveness. Peridot noted that she couldn't let her get away with this. She would continue to get in her way. The woman said that her mistress was right, and that this woman bragged about her wealth so disgustingly that her ears almost rotted. It was so disgusting. The lady noticed that she had done her best, so she offered her a cup of tea. But the woman behaved strangely. The lady did not understand at all what it was, and thought that she did not want to. Usually after this many services disappear, so she hopes that this will not happen. So she still decided to drink tea. As soon as she took a sip, she immediately began to die. The lady could not believe it because she was talking about the next task, although she did not even cope with this one. Titania, Oberon, she did not understand at all how she could refuse what she so terribly desired. Finally, they arrived on her land. The lady was shocked because she did not think that it would be so empty. Lucifer noted that she said she was going to build something called an amusement park here, but for some reason an Evershell. Titania was surprised that it was so simple. Lucifer pointed out that it would have been easier to tell him that she needed land for construction. He began to draw a map Evershell, where Ruat Haas and Aval were visiting. He was the master of all these lands. For convenience, he introduces himself as Duke of Schweiden, but his full title is Lucifer de Schweiden, Duke of Schweiden, and also Lord of Ruth Haas and Aval, and also the ruler of Macarten. Titania decided to inquire where it was. Macarten is a coastal city in the south. It is commonly called the Gambling City. He's like the ruler of Macau or the mayor of Las Vegas. He's a major beyond imagination. The lady did not understand at all where they could explode such riches. From Lucifer noted that money does not fall from heaven. Titania was surprised that they did not come from Macarten's casino. 24 hours a day, Lucifer pointed out that this was not always the case. The lady is really jealous of him. When Lucifer said he would buy her a building, he thought she would just accept it as if it was meant to be. Lucifer said that when she became his wife, he would give her the rights to manage the gambling houses, so she could try to do it. He's not particularly interested, so he just lets it slide. He's been watching her, and he thinks she'd be a much better steward of McCartan's playgrounds. She might even be able to take this business to a new level. And then I asked her what she thought. The lady's eyes lit up, and she asked him with a smile if he promised. She was simply delighted. She said it would be part of his wedding present. Titania was surprised when he mentioned a wedding present because she hadn't expected that to be the case either. That she didn't grab his hand. Lucifer told her not to think of it as a burden because he was doing it because he wanted to. And then the gentleman asked if it would be better for him to present it as an engagement gift. If she wanted to get the casino early, then he could do so. If anyone deserves to be the main character, it's him. This is just incredible generosity. And then Titania realized that she had to give something too, so she said that she would sketch something first. The gentleman said that if she needed an easel, she should just let him know, and he would bring it right away. We'll have to think about it later. Titania was very grateful to him. It brought a smile to his face. He is handsome, gentle, and caring. What you would expect from the main character, his beloved will be lucky. Titania saw him from a different side, and now envies the main character, whose face she has never even seen. It was a hard day, but for some reason, there was not a wink of sleep in either eye. Since she can't sleep, she decided to go for a walk. She thought about an engagement gift. She probably needs to get something too. It wouldn't be nice to leave him without a present in return. Clothes, a coat, shoes, or some kind of jewelry. Whatever she gave him, it certainly wouldn't compare to his gift. The best option is a sword, but Lucifer already said that he has a suitable one. He even has a catchy name, Apollonius. It's great, of course, when the groom is rich, but it makes choosing a gift very difficult. It would be possible to do something with your own hands, but the problem is that she is terribly clumsy. On the way, she accidentally met Lucifer. She was very surprised when she saw him and asked if he was still awake. He confirmed this and noted that she was not sleeping at all, and he was also curious why she was not sleeping. Basically for the same reason. Her heart is beating so hard, it's just scary. Titania didn't understand at all why he was looking at her like that, so she decided to ask. The lady believed that it was because she was very beautiful. Lucifer confirmed this. He said that she was really beautiful. These words embarrassed the lady very much, and she tried to control herself because it was true. Previously, when he just wanted to take a walk in such a place, the magic would shower him with gifts. Each time he had to refuse them and look for the ladies who sent them in order to return everything. Apparently among such gifts, there were some that were opened, so he could not accept them. But after she came into his life, all this stopped. She is his salvation. But Titania believed that it was definitely he who saved her. But the master denied it because she saved him. If it had happened earlier, he should have gotten the agreement, but recently she stole something from him, and he has no intention of returning it. After these words, the gentleman kissed her on the forehead. The girl blushed very much after this and didn't even know what to say. She turned away and started to leave. The gentleman tried to stop her, but it didn't work. Lucifer would like to make it so that she cannot escape. Fortunately, Grandma Tebby agreed to sell her the building. The lady said that she would demolish the building and build a 3-story one in its place. Grandma said that she should make a tea house on the first floor, and she would be its owner. And thanks to the palace magicians sent by Her Highness, the work went quickly. She also recently managed to get permission from the emperor to build an amusement park. Everything went off without a hitch. They decided to allocate the 3rd floor to the madam and the staff, and the 2nd will be used as an office. Still, there must be. It's just a disaster. If she thinks for even a second, she will certainly remember that incident that happened in the evening. She had an internal panic because she remembered that kiss. Grandmother did not understand at all why she was so worried about a man. The lady did not understand at all how she guessed. Tebby noticed that it was written all over her face. These words embarrassed Titania. She blushed and wanted to say something, but her grandmother said that he was a man and she could just take advantage of him and leave him. But Lucifer is sincere and kind, and she doesn't think he deserves to be treated like that. But she doesn't understand why he kissed her at all. Theory A. Her forehead is so beautiful that he just couldn't resist. Well, he kinda thought that it was an objectively beautiful forehead, so he wanted to kiss it. Theory B. I wanted to see how she would react to this, so I decided to kiss her on the forehead. Well, she thought it was some kind of nonsense, because Lucifer wouldn't do that. He's not that flighty. Grandmother didn't quite understand why Titania was so worried. A young lady like her could charm any man. He likes the theory of Titania, but it just doesn't make sense. Absolutely, there are men who can't cross the line. The novel she got into is The Wedding of the Main Character with the Descendant of the Sun God. If there is a gripping story about fateful love, the description of the relationship between the main characters, there is 100 times more than the description of the beautiful villain number 4. Even if she gives him her heart, then everything is predetermined. Grandma noted that if a girl becomes so weak, she will not be able to manipulate a man. So if she came here to worry, then she should leave here. Go outside and look at the sun. Admire the handsome guys. Titania even smiled at her grandmother's behavior. The decision to talk about her worries did not bring much relief because Grandma does not understand at all why she should worry about men. It's still a bit awkward, but Mrs. Titania doesn't think she's coming. According to the rules of etiquette, it is better to send an invitation. The day of the brand launch party has finally arrived. The check of the treats is complete. The check of the decorations naturally is all at the highest level. Everything was just perfect. The woman really hoped that everything would go well. Titania assured her that everything would be just fine, and she shouldn't worry about it. The princess approached the lady together with her knight. Titania was very happy to see them. The princess noted that it seems like not much time has passed since she appeared in the capital, and she is already launching her own clothing line. She is simply delighted. Titania noted that this was all thanks to the help of the princess lady, and also asked her to see if there were any outfits that she would like, because she wants to give them to her. And Lady Ziontina, the princess thought. And then she said that she liked her more and more, because she has a charm that Peridot doesn't have. The popularity of the clothing brand that the princess herself wears is sure to increase. Princess Tioles is incredibly generous after all. Even though I know she's being used, she happily lets them do it. Titania noticed the lady and knight looking at the costume, so she walked up to her and asked her how she liked the outfit. Ziontina noticed that it was not bad, so the lady said that she would give it to her so that she could take it and not be shy. If such a wonderful knight as Lady Ziontina wears this chic outfit, the owner will be very pleased. The lady noted that she was flattering her, so she might as well not try, since there was no point in it. It seems that this is true. Titania asked her what she was saying, but noted that it was the pure truth. The lady asked her to look at these arms, and it must have been difficult to pump up such strong muscles. But Ziontina noted that not at all, because if you train a lot, then anyone will have such, and the mistress is too close. She holds a cut that it suits her very well, so she asks her to try it on. The knight was shocked with you that she can judge it just by looking at things. This is indeed the case, as it is her personal clothing line. The princess noted that they get along so well that she is even jealous. Titania asked the lady if she wanted her to pick something for her too. In this case, she will wear the outfit she chose right here. The princess can act as a free advertising banner. The princess went to change clothes. It is very good. As expected, many people gathered, but it seems that none of the visitors dare to speak to her. There's nothing to be done about it. Once she's here, she basically makes enemies for herself. Suddenly, Lady came up to Titania and asked if she remembered them, but the lady did not quite understand who it was. Recently, in a fan shop, the girls were looking at a fan, but they were too expensive, so they couldn't afford it. It was an impulsive act. The lady informed the manager that she would buy 2 more fans and asked him to give them to those 2 young ladies. Titania gave Vera the secret to unknown girls, so she pretended that she remembered everything and did not understand how she could forget. She was the only one in the store that day, besides them, so people tried to talk to her, and she was glad that she was right. And the woman wanted to thank her properly. Titania remarked that it was so lovely. She was curious to see how they would behave, but they did not catch and did not hide. The lady remarked that thanks to her, she had received what she could only dream of, and the other lady also thanked her. They congratulated her on the launch of the brand. And now it's time for them to go, but Mrs. Titania asked them to wait. She decided to ask them what their names were, and perhaps they could become friends. Titania wondered if they would tell her or not. She had no real friends in her past life. It wasn't that she didn't want to, however, approaching with some intention was often the only way to talk to someone. Besides, she never had enough money, so even going to the cinema or a cafe with someone was a luxury. So she's not sure if she'll be able to make friends with anyone. Now the girls' names were Regina Delac and Cynthia Walson. Titania was very happy, and it was very nice to meet her. Her name is Titania Oberon. She knows little about the capital, but she has 2 friends. For some reason, she has already begun to like them. Lucifer showed up, so she could go to the party, and couldn't understand why he didn't know about it. The butler noted that she apparently did not want to talk about it. Theobald is devoted to the lady. She left an invitation. However, Lucifer remarked that this meant he was definitely coming. The butler remarked that he thought so too. It was necessary to dress up, and the servant reported that he had already prepared everything. The master asked how things were with the Lacourme. Although it would look strange if he went, His Majesty said it would serve as a diversion. Lacourme. Every 3 years, all the desert tribes hold a traditional martial arts festival. Kata is a brutal competition where participants die one after another. We have a redistribution day. All the desert clans gather in one place so that neighboring countries could not help but pay attention to this. If Lucifer goes, he will be worried. But the servant said that everything will be fine with his wife. But the Duke said he didn't understand him, because Lucifer worries about himself when he'll be without her. If he inquired whether the person he wanted to meet had arrived, the servant informed him that she was waiting in the hall. Lucifer was surprised with you that he didn't invite her to the guest room. She's just so stubborn. Lucifer apologized for keeping her waiting. Her name is Tabby. Lucifer apologized for having to trust her with such a difficult task. Tabby may be old, but she's still cooking. Theobina Muo, possessor of a phenomenal memory. Tabiona and Theobald. They worked undercover in their youth. If Theobald Leuven was called Leuven of Information, then Theobina Muo was called Bion of Memory. Fire in hand, they separated after some incident, but by an incredible coincidence, Titania reunited them. As Lucifer had said before, he had only one request for her. It concerns the drawing mages. They must find out everything about the drawing mages. Tabby told the gentleman that he need not worry because she would do everything in the best possible way. Much about the drawing magicians is shrouded in mystery, but together they can probably find something. Maybe they can figure out why Titania turns cold when she uses magic. Lucifera is late, so it's time to go to the party. The girls are gone, as they have a curfew at their house. The princess approached Titania and said that it was her turn, and then she asked if Lucifer would come. The princess had already finished changing. Titania remarked that it suited her very well, but the lady told her not to change the subject. But the girl thought that she wasn't changing the subject. He just didn't want to talk to her about it. In fact, she also didn't know whether he would come or not. The lady noted that perhaps he would not come, since she did not want to insist. Until now, he had been pursued by countless psychos. So if he showed up here, he would have a hard time. And in fact, she's even glad he's not here. Titania is still embarrassed. Tomorrow she and the princess heard screams and turned away. The girl screamed that the man was like a broken bracelet. The girl believed that it was the president of the Lucifer fan club, Maisie Amantine. Her interlocutor noted that she didn't know something. In war, all means are good. Maisie, horrified, asked if she realized how hard it was for him, and her interlocutor asked if she really did look like an idiot. She doesn't do it out of love, and of course you can't pressure him. You can't, but no one will know that she buys and collects his hair. Maisie didn't understand what it was, and said it was terribly indecent. The girl said she was just jealous, and it would be better to admit it honestly. And then she asked if she knew what she had recently managed to get. Maisie said that she was not at all interested in what she had got there. The girl turned red and said that she got the very thing. She got the towel with which he wiped the sweat. This is a very rare value that can only be obtained by having connections within the knightly order. If she were as shy as she is, she would not have achieved anything. Titania remarked that it was a pitiful sight, but so be it. She would intervene. Titania turned to Lady Maisie and asked her what she was doing there. The girl was very scared, because in front of her is Lady Titania Oberon. The lady did not quite understand what was wrong with her face, then asked if she had expected to see her at her own celebration. Or maybe she shouldn't hear this conversation. Maisie tried to somehow get out of the situation, and the girl with purple hair almost went crazy. She began to say that she was the thief who stole the Duke's heart, a mysterious fairy who appeared in the capital. She cut out and saved all the newspaper articles about her and Lucifer. She was very curious about what kind of person she was, and that's how they met. Titania decided to ask her name. She is Nanya Zerpenter. She is not familiar with this name. Titania is not familiar with this name. The woman continued to say that she is Nanya. The woman said that she said her name like that and begged her to do it again, so tenderly and sweetly. The lady asked the girl if she liked her. Nanya said that she fell in love at first sight. This lush outfit suits her so well. She asked us how she combines black and red so well, and she also has such jewelry. Everything is so perfect that it takes our breath away. She is like an angel who came down from heaven. Her name suits her so well, and she thought she was used to her beauty, but she is 100 times more beautiful than she could have imagined. Her voice is sweet as honey. It's like a fairy tale spring in her ears from which she wants to drink. She is truly an unusually passionate person. Not noticing anything, she concentrates on something or one thing. To be honest, the lady can't say that she hates such people. But there are certain boundaries that should not be crossed, so she asked the girl what towel she was just talking about. Nanya said that since she is his lover, she would like to return it. This towel is very expensive, but if she really needs it, she can give it away. Usually she does not refuse such treasures. Nanya collects a towel by's hair, so the lady asked her if she thinks Lucifer will like it if he finds out about it. He will hate her. The girl confirmed that this was true, but she never wished him harm. She simply admires him from the bottom of her heart. I often see so many noble young ladies holding their breath and staring at one point. The lady noted that Lucifer did not ask to be admired, and the lady also asked whether he allowed her to buy and collect things that belonged to him, and so on. Nanya said that it is not so, but she does it. Tormenting others from the heart, even if she thinks that she does not harm him, is deeply mistaken. Because it can't be like that. Nanya tried to justify herself somehow, but it's violence. Titania would like to make this known here and now. If anyone were to send assassins after her or harass Lucifer, her kitten immediately came up to her, and she hoped that he was explaining things clearly. It may have been a bit much, but considering all the pain Lucifer had gone through, she did the right thing. Titania turned to and said that she too should get rid of her entire collection as soon as possible. Nanya, in turn, was simply delighted and did not understand how she could speak so beautifully. For the first time in her life, she wanted to lick someone so much. It was very straightforward. All the outsiders down the drain. She didn't understand anything at all. Yes, even the lady's throat was dry. At least Nanya, like Princess Tyoles, turned her attention to her. Nanya turned to the lady and asked if she could take the glass from which she had been drinking. Titania had no idea what to do with this girl. She barely got out. In fact, she doesn't tolerate alcohol well, and the champagne fell out because she wanted to drink, but she didn't think she would get so drunk. Titania also does not tolerate alcohol. She did not know this because she rarely drank here. She thought she would feel better if she went out into the fresh air. But for some reason, it seems to her that she is losing the ability to think coherently. The girl immediately recognized this very voice. It was Kaisha. But she didn't understand at all where he was coming from. It's so hard she can't drink champagne anymore. She was poisoned. Titania was in complete shock and did not understand what was happening. Suddenly, she fell to the floor. Her body was not obeying her, and she believed that she was dying. Kaisha told her that it was better not to move, otherwise the poison would spread faster. Did he really poison her? It's just a disaster. The kitty is still inside. Well, the man said it wasn't him. He just saw someone put poison in her glass. The lady was in shock with you, that he just stood and watched it. This poison is not lethal, and probably it is just a paralytic. Soon she will not even be able to scream. Her tongue was almost numb, and she could hardly say that she understood him. And after that, she asked if he could tell her who poisoned her. But the man said that he did not want to say it. If he does this, she will run away from him again and go to that blonde bastard, and he cannot allow this. The lady noticed that he had a very sad face, and his chest was aching. She was worried. Titania noted that nothing could be done, and she did not remember at all who he was. Kaisha noted that this was true, and he would wait until she was completely numb. Then her abilities would be sealed as well, and she would be easier to carry. Unlike Lucifer, he is cold as paper. He turned to Shay and said that she is his own, so he offers her to return to their paradise. It must be done. I have not yet too late, but the Lord thought it was dangerous. Perhaps she would remember everything if she went with him. Titania can't lift a finger. If this continues, he will kidnap her. Suddenly, out of nowhere, Lucifer appeared and said that this will not happen. The lady feels his warmth even from the touch of her hand, and it is so calming. Titania tried to explain something to him, but Lucifer said that he knows everything. And then he said that everything was fine. He drove away her fear. Kaisha noticed that it was funny, seeing the woman he thought was the love of his life find solace in the arms of another man. Lucifer turned to Kun Kaisha and told him that he would not forget what he did to him in battle. He asked if he was his twin brother or if he was living under his brother's name. The Kun Gaisha he knew was not like that. He would never allow his beloved to be harmed. If he really is who he says he is, then he and Shay should have the same satellite mark. After these words, Lucifer asked where his mark was. The man asked if it was that important. After all, he has no idea about the feelings that are tearing his heart apart. Lucifer did not understand what kind of utter nonsense this was, since the marks are applied by the Lakurm itself. In the desert time, everyone knows about them. Therefore, he will not understand at all who he is for her. The man said that he was not able to take her with him this time either, but he will never give up. He promised to wait, and promised that you would wait as long as it took, and she should remember this. Titania started screaming at him to wait because he was a curse. She didn't understand what it was. He disappeared as suddenly as he had appeared. A successful party to celebrate the opening of her studio ended with the princess, having heard about her condition from Lucifer, deciding to finish it herself. Luckily, the champagne the guests sang did not contain tranquilizers, and the rumor that she had fallen into poisoned champagne did not spread. And Lucifer also said that he thought they should get married soon. Titania was in complete shock and did not understand why so quickly and what would happen to their engagement. The engagement ceremony will take place right in the palace, but it is better not to delay the wedding. As soon as she enters the Schweiden family, the threat to life will significantly decrease. But she couldn't even imagine that this would happen. She thought she had taken sufficient care of safety. Titania can't think of anything else. They'll do. Lucifer turns to her and asks her to eat. Overprotective mode is on. If they wanted to kill her, they could have added poison to the glass, but she doesn't quite understand why there's a Mayor classed in there. Lucifer pointed out that it was possible because in that case, no one would have allowed for the possibility of murder. If she had tripped and fallen, it would have been considered an unfortunate accident. Titania noted that open trade in such substances is prohibited in Tirana. Such goods are sold in alleys. Considering that no measures have been taken to stop this, one can conclude that this business is being covered up by someone in power. The girl was shocked with you that she and the princess hadn't even figured him out yet. If they wanted to find him, they would have. But until recent events, that wasn't on the list of top priorities. Lucifer continued to feed her, which embarrassed her greatly, so she decided not to refuse and eat the last spoonful. There is still bread here, but the lady said that she had already eaten her fill and did not want any more. Titania repeated once again that she had already said that everything was fine and the paralysis had passed and that she was feeling great. Even if she took the antidote, a small amount of the paralytic could remain in her body, and this is not at all safe. The lady remarked that the Duke fussed over her like a hen over an egg. The butler remarked that perhaps she was right. She was so confident that everything was under control that she let her guard down. The servant knocked on the door and asked the lady if he could come out, and when he opened the door, the lady was in complete shock. There was a servant standing on the threshold. Next to him was a huge pile of flowers and many gifts. She did not understand at all where all this came from. The man said it was a gift from Her Highness Titania. Immediately realized it was from Princess Teoles. She sent Titania roses for Titania. In the letter she wrote that these roses would bring peace to her heart, and she had prepared a wedding dress for her so she should come to her palace as soon as she felt better. It seems she has an idea who poisoned her. Lucifer asked her if she was sure about it, and the lady noted that she was definitely. She even knows why they slipped it to her. Someone decided to take revenge for her taking his toy away from him. It turns out that this is Princess Peridot of Chrysion. The princess benefits from maintaining friendly relations with both of them. Their rivalry will only play into her hands as she will thoroughly strengthen her position as a leader, and all competitors will be eliminated by themselves. That's why she sent her this postcard. Her Highness writes that she knows who added the muscle relaxant, but will not punish her. And at the very end, he advises her to be patient. But the lady is not satisfied with this. She likes the princess, but she defends her day since the incident was not made public. She will not be angry, but she cannot just sit idly by either. Lucifer understood her and noted that Princess Chrysiona was difficult to catch since she was under the protection of the imperial family. But he will try to find a way. Titania was shocked by what he was ready to do, even if the princess herself was covering for her. He is ready to do this, even though he does not want to get involved with her. The lady was touched. And then Lucifer noticed that he also had a gift for her. The lady was very surprised and asked if she could open it. Lucifer didn't mind, and when she opened it, she saw that there was a fountain pen inside. It is made in the Imperial Ministry of Magic. This pen never runs out of ink and can be used to draw on any surface, on marble, wood, or even stone. Titania was absolutely delighted. It was such a wonderful gift. Lucifer noted that she once said that she had a hard time in the desert because she had no pen or paper. Titania was shocked that he remembered this. Lucifer didn't understand how it could be any other way, since it was all about her. Even though it's wrong, her heart is fluttering, and she can't do anything about it. The princess was meeting the princess, and Peridot noticed that they hadn't had tea together for a long time. She was very busy with government affairs, and then asked how her research was progressing. Unfortunately, the experiments with planting plants in sand failed, so she is thinking of going in a different direction. She is glad that there is still time left before La Kurma. The princess reported that in fact, there are results. No, it does not matter. The princess said she would see if she could help, but she made no guarantees. After these words, the lady asked the guest to sit down. Only someone who is not her doll can meet one-on-one with the princess. A man she is truly interested in, God himself, does not know how many years she devoted to attracting the attention of the princess. and she doesn't know how it happened, that some girl who appeared literally out of nowhere is twisting her around her fingertips. Tioles decided to ask what she wanted to say that even demanded a personal meeting. The princess was ready to listen to her, so the princess immediately asked what to do if a wild cat appeared in the chicken coop. Tioles noted that we needed to catch her before we had all the chickens. Peridot thought so too, and then asked what if this window had an owner? Who will be upset if something happens to her, as she knows Titania really likes Lucifer? It's normal for a person to be fascinated by something new, and she's not sure he'll be happy if they take away the toy that brings him so much joy. Peridot decided that she would never give up. Even though this situation had taken a rather unexpected turn, she still hoped for her cooperation. This young lady is a real headache. If you don't get rid of her now, it will be even more difficult later. The princess asked if the princess had forgotten what a service she had rendered to the imperial family. Of course, the princess remembers everything. If it weren't for Cutie, the entire palace would be littered with the corpses of her political enemies. Besides, she only listens to Peridot. In exchange for her giving up her noble status and entering her service, she promised her a reward. A power that would allow her to add the ducal surname of Schweiden to her name. And she just wanted her to be kind and fulfill this wish. Tioles did not understand at all. How could she refuse her? But she thought that it wasn't that important, because she didn't have any feelings for Lucifer. Peridot didn't understand at all what it meant that it wasn't that important, because she had done so much to make the princess happy. The Christian family will be Her Highness's greatest supporters, and they and their brother will be the princess's loyal supporters. Therefore, the princess should think about this, because if she married the duke, she could do much more for her. Otherwise, I can no longer count on their help. The princess remained threateningly silent. After these words, the princess thought that she had overdone it, but the princess noted that she agreed to this. Whatever she did, the princess would not interfere with her. The princess was simply delighted her blackmail worked. But the princess noted that she should know that she really loves to have fun. If Titania leaves Lucifer of her own free will, but for some reason the atmosphere has changed a lot. The princess said that she would personally conduct their wedding, and then asked how she liked the idea. Peridot got what she wanted, so she thanked her mistress very much. Now it's better to get out of here quickly. She was about to leave, but the princess noticed that she had misunderstood something, so she asked permission to explain it to her. The princess needs the paltry support of her family. She is the crown princess, and very soon she will become the empress. The way she begged today seemed very funny to her, but nothing more. But if she decides to threaten her again, at the same time, if you think that she can twist the princess around as she pleases, then she will destroy her entire lousy family. There are no irreplaceable people, and she should keep this in mind, and she should hold on to her place more tightly. Peridot held her throat, but still bowed, and said that she served the future empress, and she would remember that. They say this bitch earned 1,000 gold coins at the party in honor of the opening of her brand. The maid confirmed this and told her that she pretended to come to buy a dress and asked about it, but she was not told the details. However, it seems that way. Peridot almost bought the building, but she took it over and made a fortune on it. What a pity. If she hadn't been so run down and desperate, she could have opened her own cosmetics store. Peridot said that the maid was right, and then she remembered the princess's words that she would not interfere with her no matter what she did. If Titania leaves Lucifer of her own free will, she will personally conduct their wedding. Somehow, this is all uninteresting. If she doesn't get the duke, then no one else will, and she'll just kill him. These are soaps and creams for the Knights of the Order, and these are for their captain. The maid must give them to the squire named Thomas of the Rentis Order. Titania fell asleep while drawing, but she didn't quite understand why she was in the princess's palace. Tioles came in and noticed that she was finally awake. Now they could have a serious talk about their upcoming engagement. Everything is not as scary as it may seem. While the wedding ceremony should be conducted according to all the rules, the engagement is informal. All you need to do is dress up and have a great time. Titania was shocked because she did not know about it. She asked her to choose something from it to her taste. The lady began to choose and noted that it was spring now and the weather was nice. She didn't want to spend the holiday indoors. Teals agreed with her and noted that in that case, the plans to decorate the hall would also go to hell. Titania didn't quite understand why Lady Ziontina was standing alone in the corner. After these words, the princess turned to her and asked if she wanted to join them. And then she asked what would be more suitable, roses or wildflowers, or maybe lilies. Ziontina noted that she did not understand anything about it. The princess told her not to say that because their dear Titania was getting married soon, and they all needed to sit down together and discuss everything. Titania thought she had switched from Lucifer to Ziontina. The lady likes Lily. Teolis was surprised, but found it interesting. She thought she liked bright flowers better, but Titania noted that it would be better to save them for the wedding. The princess was not at all against it, and added that she had prepared a dress for her here, so she asked to try it on. When she got dressed, Teolis was simply shocked, and noted that the dress suited her very well. The princess had it made at the atelier she had opened it, looked great on her. Titania was grateful, and imagined how happy Madame was. However, she thinks that the heels are too high for these shoes, but the princess noted that they were adjusted by Lucifer's adolescence. Well, it seems she's right, and they overdid it a bit, but she still asks her to try walking. Titania noted that she didn't mind. She knew that if she tried, she might even be able to walk. But suddenly she twisted her leg and started to fall. The princess and the knight were in complete shock. But Teolis managed to grab her, and Ziontina held her legs. The princess asked if everything was okay because she looked strange, but the lady said that everything was okay. Just amazing. She was caught by Ziontina. Also, the night girl noted that she should have been more careful, but she didn't fall because she wanted to. But she still thanked them for catching her. Now it is clear that if she puts them on, she will not be able to stand on her feet, so she must forget about these terrible shoes because the princess cannot allow her to get hurt. A maid entered the room and said that she had something to say to Her Highness. Teolis asked them to wait a minute. Titania looked at the knight's girl, and she only turned away and became a little embarrassed because her cheeks were still flushed. And what does this all mean? Suddenly, the lady began to say that she was in great pain and was in great difficulty. She tried to be an actress for a while. The knight asked the lady if she had twisted her ankle. The lady remarked that it looked like it. No matter whether she liked it or not, she would still act nobly. Ziontina asked her to let her know if she needed her help. The very first rule of the knight's code is to help the weak and be polite to the ladies, so she doesn't understand how one could not take advantage of this. Titania began to say that she was in a lot of pain and that she couldn't even walk. Ziontina first asked her if she was serious about this. After these words, the lady asked if she thought she was pretending. Titania said that this was some kind of nonsense and did not understand at all how she could think such a thing. She feels so bad, and yet she behaves like this. After these words, the knight apologized and asked the lady to give her her hand. The princess came into the room and said that she had already returned, and she was in complete shock because she did not understand at all when they had managed to become so close. The knight said that it was not so. The lady had simply injured her leg. The princess noted that it was time for the changing of the guard. In that case, she will take the lady home. It seems that Ziontina cares about her very much. Titania was not sure about this and noticed that she remained indifferent even when she fell. Teolis noted that although she looks cold, she is actually quite different. Ziontina is very kind. She never had any friends. But then the lady appeared. Titania was shocked with you that the princess called her a knight's friend. It would be great if that were the case. Ziontina greeted the milord. Lucifer was surprised when he saw her and his wife. He did not understand at all why they were there together, and he thought that his wife was injured. Titania said she pretended to have sprained her ankle, and Ziontina walked her home. The knight was in complete shock and said that in that case, it was a hoax, but the lady simply thanked her for seeing her off. Ziontina was very embarrassed, but noted that thank God she was okay. And then she said that in that case, she was coming back. Titania was not at all against it, and noted that they would see each other again. To which the knight remarked that she need not bother and not seek a meeting with her. Titania was very curious whether they had become closer. After that, she was drawing in her room, and she thought that maybe this Viking needed to add something. But suddenly Lucifer came up to her and said that she had something on her nose. The gentleman apologized for frightening her. After these words, she began to ask him how long he had been standing there. He probably saw her rubbing her nose. To be honest, he's been here for about 5 minutes. So he saw everything, and the lady was very ashamed. Titania really wanted him to pretend that he saw nothing. Lucifer said that she had oil paint on her nose, but he would help her wipe it off. His hands smelled different somehow, and suddenly she wondered why. Titania turned to Lucifer and asked him where he had been. The Lord said that he had been in the knightly order. After that, the lady asked what soap he washed himself with, but the gentleman didn't even know what to answer her, so he said he didn't know, because he used what was in the order's shower room. Its smell is different from the usual one. Titania assured him that it was very different, and she knew that something was wrong. The lady told Lucifer that his neck was red, and now his ears were red. He seemed to have a fever, so she asked if something hurt. Lucifer turned to his wife and said that if she came closer, it would be extremely difficult for him to restrain himself. Titania didn't understand at first, but when she thought about it, it immediately occurred to her what it meant. In any case, if she doesn't like the smell, she can wash herself again. Well, the lady said, no need, it's not that bad, and she got all dirty with paint. But still, the gentleman said that he would go and wash himself. Titania continued to assure him that everything was fine, but he did not agree. Lucifer said it wouldn't take long. She could tell he was upset that she had drawn a line between them. Titania knew she had to pull herself together because she knew she couldn't give her heart to this man. Titania apologized for getting too close. She was just unsure. Lucifer, in horror, began to tell her that he had never dated any other women except her. But that's not what the girl meant, but that's how it all looked. She can't tell him what she knows about Peridot from the book. She wondered if she was being too direct in saying that she thought there was something wrong with this soap. So she sent him to rinse off once more, and if he went again, he was to bring her soap. Titania was so embarrassed that she almost got into trouble. But now everything should be fine. She recalled his words about how he had never dated any other women except her, and she blushed. And all because she can't fall in love with him. Lucifer went to wash himself again. Usually he is very good at containing his emotions, but for some reason he loses control of himself every time around her. Lucifer wanted to pull her towards him, but such behavior was unacceptable. And while they were busy with their own affairs, time flew by, unnoticed. The day of the engagement arrived. Juliet said that the lady was simply beautiful. Titania looks great. The lady was grateful for the compliments. However, she does not understand at all when the ceremony will begin. Well, everything is classic. Even after the preparations are over, the bride still has to wait a long time for her betrothed. The lady thinks that she could while away the waiting time with friends, but she has no friends. Her closest friend is Lady Ziontina, but she will never come here. Well, it's okay. She's used to being alone. Before she came here, her parents were always busy. They had a lot of debt. In order to survive, she had to work without rest, even during her student years. And since she worked and studied at the same time, she never managed to make friends. In the end, she simply distanced herself from everyone. Here she also has to fight for her life, but at least she doesn't need money. She doesn't have to worry about the interest she has to pay next month, which is already a good thing. Now, all that was left was to win back her place in the sun and live happily ever after. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door, and the maid immediately asked who was there. When she saw those ladies, she immediately allowed them to come in. They immediately started saying that the lady was so beautiful. Titania was surprised when she saw Lady Regina and Cynthia. She did not understand at all why they were here. No matter what happens, friends should support each other. The ladies did not know whether they could come since they had not received an invitation, but they really wanted to congratulate her personally, and they wondered if they had acted too rudely. These words touched the lady, and she said that of course this was not so, and was very grateful that they had come. Titania felt awkward and didn't even know how to start a conversation. We need to find a topic quickly, so the lady decided to ask me if they were engaged or if grooms had been chosen for them when they were children. Titania immediately began to think that this was too tactless a question. Regina said that she was interested in writing and did not want to get married at all. Titania was shocked. The lady added that she even secretly sends her texts to the newspaper. That's great. After that, the lady decided to ask, what about Lady Cynthia? She said that her beloved died 4 years ago. He fell from a horse, and she does not want to tie herself to anyone else. Titania realized that she had touched a nerve, so she didn't know what to say. The girls noted that if she became the Duke's wife, they wanted to be bridesmaids at their wedding. And then they asked the lady if she would do them such an honor. Titania was in complete shock. Titania didn't even know what to say, so the ladies began to think that she had already chosen someone else, but that was not the case at all. In that case, they have a chance, and the lady confirmed it. The ladies were very happy. It makes sense. Once she becomes a duchess, she will need companions to live with. Their role is fundamentally different from the role of maids. They do not do household chores. Companions are chosen from among noble ladies and entrusted to them the care of their bodies and the collection of information about events taking place in high society. That's all there is to worry about. If a power struggle breaks out in the imperial palace, they will be the first to know. Although Titania knows that this status is considered an honor, here she is a little confused by the term companion. The lady remarked that it was so sweet of them, but she wanted them to become real friends. She didn't even know what to do. The ladies began to say that if she appointed them as her companions, they would never betray her. They would always be on her side, wherever and whenever. The lady realized that she needed to think about it carefully. Titania wanted to ask something. If they were to be her companion, she wondered if they could be friends. If not, she would have to refuse. The ladies immediately became happy, and smiles appeared on their faces. They said that of course it was. They continued to chat happily and rejoice together. The ceremony begins. The mistress will soon come out. The maid informed her about it. Regina pointed out that her heels were so high, and the other lady told her to hold their hands. Titania was very grateful to them, but she did not think she deserved such kindness towards herself. But the ladies told her that it was a matter of course. They are now her companions. Nanya came closer and called the lady. She asked her if she really forgot about her and chose other companions for herself. She has such a scary face, the lady didn't even know how to react. The woman said that this couldn't be. Nanya said that she tried so hard for her. The lady did not reciprocate her feelings. She did not know that the aura could become so dark and gloomy. She decided that this should not happen right before the engagement ceremony, so she said that she had one request for Lady Nanya. The ladies told the lady that they were short of time, so she must hurry. Titania told Nanya that she had taken the glass from which she had drunk. The girl had no idea how she had found out about this. It was a secret, but it wasn't hard to guess. The lady remarked that it was excellent, and then she asked if she could bring it to her, along with the contents. The girl didn't quite understand why she needed it. The lady assured her that this was a very important task, and she could entrust it only to her. With this glass in her possession, she could catch Lady Peridot red-handed. You'd think she said it just to get rid of her. But in fact, it is not so. Nanya shouted that she will definitely do it, and was very, very happy. Mission accomplished. And now, when this door opens, she will officially become Lucifer's bride. Titania didn't understand at all what this was, because the princess said that the engagement ceremony would be informal. The gentleman said that two loving hearts should look at each other and affectionately call each other by name. To be honest, she hadn't really thought about the engagement ceremony until this morning. This feeling. But the trouble is, she doesn't understand at all why her heart is beating so hard. By the grace of God, two people met here. The priest continued to conduct the ceremony. All the sounds mixed into some kind of absurd cacophony. Everything around her suddenly ceased to be important. She saw and heard only Lucifer. She tried to calm down because it was just a contract, and their relationship would end when the main character appeared, so she shouldn't get her hopes up in vain. They must not let go of each other's hands and bake this wine as a sign of blessing from the sun god. If the two of them have something to say to each other, they should say it now. It's a sham engagement, but somehow the process is so exciting. In front of all the guests present here, Lucifer would like to say something. He is very grateful to fate that she is next to him, and that in the future she will have many trials, but he swears that he will help her to pass them all. And even though he has plenty of shortcomings, he will always and everywhere protect her. When he looks at her with such tenderness, it's as if she's drowning in warm embraces. She can't hold back the trembling of her heart. This engagement was truly emotionally difficult for her. There are 6 months left until the main character appears, and she is not sure if she will be able to not fall in love with Lucifer until then. The gentleman asked if she was tired, but Titania said that everything was fine. Lucifer can carry her in his arms if she has trouble walking. The girl really wanted him to stop embarrassing her. He sat down and didn't listen to her. Titania said that everything was fine and she could go, but suddenly the gentleman stopped and called his wife to him. Lucifer asked her to take his hand because it was dangerous for her to walk here alone. At first, the lady was surprised, but later agreed. This is the princess's palace. There is simply no safer place. This is the hand he held her by during the ceremony. If it seems, then it will seem strange to him. Everything is fine, but she can't calm down, and she constantly goes around justifying herself with her feeling of being a saint. That's all she has left. His hand is so hot, and the mistress can still turn back if she doesn't fall in love with Lucifer like Shay in the original story. Then she can avoid participating in repeating her fate. It would be great if the road were longer. These words surprised the lady, and she asked what it meant. Lucifer said that it was a pity that it was too short, because he doesn't want to let her go. Now Titania understood what he was talking about. They were almost to the bedroom. Time to wake up from this beautiful dream. Titania asked him to let her go, because no one will see them anymore, and there is no need to pretend anymore. The girl decided to set the boundaries of what is allowed. Lucifer asked her if she really thought it was all just a pretense. It seems to him that only she wants to believe it. But the gentleman will not convince her otherwise. Lucifer's word hit the nail on the head again. But for some reason he looks so unhappy. Titania knew that they shouldn't go that far, but they kissed anyway. But melting from this sweetness, she loses the ability to think clearly. They continued to kiss passionately. And after that, Lucifer told her that he wanted to hug her so badly. So hot, Lucifer's arms and his lips. They are so hot that you can burn yourself on them. And that makes her so scared, so she asks him not to do it. Lucifer told her that they would talk tomorrow. When Lady entered the room, she decided that she had definitely gone crazy. He's still standing outside the door. If he weren't so hot, she might just let it go. But she was not sure whether she would be able to do this now, and did not understand at all what she should do now. A week had passed since their engagement, and they were in all the newspapers. They also wrote something about an amusement park, and finally it was mentioned in the news. There had been so many articles about their engagement this week that she thought the publishers had forgotten about everything else. Titania noted that this was interesting and did not understand at all why people care about other people's personal lives. And now she decided to find out who sent him to her. The man began to say that he did not know. This is the 8th mercenary in a row who doesn't know who his employer is. It's mind-boggling. Titania is so worried about all this that she has completely lost her inspiration and has not been able to draw anything for a week. She didn't understand at all how he dared to wake her up. Suddenly, someone knocked on her door and asked what the noise was. Titania said it was nothing special and asked not to bother Lucifer, but he still burst into the room. The gentleman remarked that it would probably be necessary to hire soldiers to guard the house. The lady was surprised that he was acting so radically, because she was fine, but Lucifer couldn't say the same about himself. Now he understood that she couldn't sleep because of them, and then she asked if she was hurt. Titania said that the cat protected her, so she was safe. She didn't understand at all what to do, because she still felt really awkward just standing next to him, so she decided to talk about the park. She heard that the first stage of the work was almost completed. Lucifer noted that there were no more than 2 weeks left. It's just great. It took less time than she thought. Everything is going smoothly because he has a lot of money. He didn't even have to look for investors. Lucifer was shocked with you that she was attracted to his wealth. Titania confirmed it. She didn't even know what could be better than money, but she didn't understand at all why he was looking at her like that. That's what he looked at her with. The cat came up to them and told them to hire security already. These idiots attack every day and it pisses him off. Titania agreed with him. I said that Lucifer can go back to his room because there is nothing to worry about anymore. The Duke said that if anything happened, she should call him and he would come running. But the lady assured him that nothing would happen and he should go to bed already. The cat came up to her and asked her why she was sighing. Titania noted that she was just a little worried. If she continues to react to him like this, she won't be able to leave peacefully. This vile girl was a slave, and it is completely unclear how she could become a duchess. The man himself saw her at the auction. It's just unbelievable. Their daughter has to kneel before a slave. It's such a nightmare. The engagement could be broken at any moment, but for some reason, Lord Aragon remains silent. It was he who started this conversation. Their wedding must not take place. It must be broken off at any cost. They should have passed this on to their wives and daughters. Let them publicly disgrace her. After that ill-fated kiss, she couldn't look Lucifer in the eyes, so she began to avoid him. But his languid gaze and voice hoarse with passion. Titania felt like she was about to go crazy. The lady was tired of being on guard all the time. So, as not to accidentally run into him at breakfast, after all, it won't be possible to run away from him all the time. She turned to the butler and said that he had dropped something and helped him pick it up. But she decided to see what it was, and then she decided to ask herself. She immediately apologized for peeping. She herself realized that this was a report of the abnormal symptoms that appeared in his lordship on the day of the engagement. But she didn't understand at all what these symptoms were. She only said that his lordship was immune to most poisons and love potions. But that day perhaps the wine weakened his body's defenses. Something strange has happened to the Duke, and unfortunately, he doesn't know what caused it. This is written in the report. It is assumed that he was exposed to an aphrodisiac. Come to think of it, Lucifer's body temperature was especially high that day. It turns out that he didn't want to hug her of his own free will. That's just great. Otherwise, it would have been too awkward. Titania asked the servant who he thought would do such a thing and what his intentions were. Theo said that it was unlikely that he had been given an aphrodisiac. Most likely it was me with very specific side effects. Of course, the Duke is an unusual person. Well, even he couldn't control himself and kissed her. They conducted a re-examination and found no traces of poisoning, so she need not worry. It turns out that she avoided him in vain and will not. And now we ourselves feel awkward. It is such a shame. Everything was resolved. Theo thought that the lady would notice that he had dropped the piece of paper on purpose, but strangely enough, she did not suspect anything. Lucifer was glad to hear this. The heat inside him was higher than usual. But the wound has healed and diminished Titania. Everything will surely return to normal because now she is convinced that the poison was to blame. However, this is not true. Even now, when the aphrodisiac effect has worn off, he still wants to kiss her. He wants to caress her tender body. He wants all of her. Lucifer has lost his mind. A beast has settled inside him. She tries to keep her distance from him, and he must respect her personal space. Lucifer wanted to see her so much that he resorted to trickery. So let it remain as it is. The answer came from the Ministry of Magical Medicine. This poison was made with the most modern technology, and only a few can create it. And if you think about who had the motive, then the circle of suspects can be narrowed even further. Lady Peridot really went overboard. A few days after accidentally forgiving the report, the servants promised that they would try their best. The Hertzhoff estate underwent global changes. The butler ordered everyone to take their places. Titania asked Lucifer if he was really okay. The reason Lucifer has drastically restricted outsiders from entering the estate is the threat of attack, but he doesn't particularly like to communicate with people, and it is because of her that he hired so many servants. Lucifer noted that he was fine, and his condition had returned to normal. Well, if that's true, that's good. In fact, such a huge mansion with its surrounding territory must have at least 100 workers. There should be guards everywhere, and the duties of the butler, senior maids, and ordinary maids should be performed by different people. It's great that Lucifer understood this, which means that very soon he will return to the ordinary life of a noble gentleman. Titania wondered if the Rontis Knights would be on permanent guard duty and would change every week. They confirmed this. From tomorrow onwards, her safety will be given special attention, and Lady Catherine will accompany her everywhere. It turns out that they will be here with her all week. The Knights confirmed this. It was perfect. She was just thinking about a gift for Lucifer in honor of the engagement, but she couldn't concentrate because of all this fuss. And she thinks they can advise her something. The knight asked about the magical artifact. Titania was very happy because this was exactly what was needed, and she did not understand at all why she herself did not think of this. Lucifer gave her a magic pen. Therefore, the lady asked where she could buy it. If the latter is made by a magician, it can be found in the Wizards Guild, and also in the Ministry of Magic and the Court Department of Magical Research, but the sorcerers who serve there do not accept personal requests. Perhaps for the sake of Lucifer, they would have made an exception. But time is running out. Titania was shocked that it was impossible to buy a ready-made artifact, but the knight said that it was possible. But in this case, there was a nuance. "This is simply amazing, madam. I didn't know that the magic workshop was right next to her studio." It was a very prime location, and now she understood why Peridot had been so keen to get her hands on the building. The serving man asked the knights to leave their swords here. The lady was surprised with you that swords were forbidden here. The guards told her that this is exactly so, any bladed weapons including swords. If I hand them over at the entrance, the local sorcerers will still understand this, thanks to detection magic, and then the problems will not be taken away. Detection magic. It's a good thing she didn't take Juliet and the cat with her because she doesn't want them to know she's a magician artist. She hoped she wouldn't get caught and was also very worried. If she was looking for a workshop, that's where they were headed. The man lost that she was such a beauty. It seems she was not caught. This place is very dirty. The lady started asking if there was an owner in this place. She couldn't believe that this was a magic workshop. It seems there is no one. Perhaps he is somewhere in the utility room, so the knight will go and look there. The lady was grateful to him, and the knight said that in that case, she would remain next to the lady. But suddenly she said that she would go upstairs to look around. The lady was not at all against it. Titania believed that she went there because she was not in any danger, apparently thinking that she would stay close to her. Well, this place seems absolutely safe. She noticed the ever-jumping spring and the dancing palm tree. The lady didn't quite understand who might need such a thing, although the dancing palm tree was quite cute. But Titania is still worried because she has nothing to protect herself with. Suddenly, she noticed a shadow. There was a strange man behind her. She didn't even have time to think. The action itself threw him off. The man remarked that it was too impolite. She didn't even know who he was. Titania apologized and said that she was just scared, and that's why she reacted that way. It's all right. He should be the one asking for forgiveness, but the lady assured him that it wasn't so. She was sure that there was definitely no one inside, so it was completely unclear when he managed to appear here.